Hello everyone and welcome to this video. My name is Prosper and I'm very excited to be creating this video today. So whichever part of the world that you are watching from any time of the day, I say a very big welcome to you. Alright, so like you can see on the screen, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you or walking you through the process of creating a car listing or dealership website. So if you are a car dealer or probably you're into website design and you just want to create a car listing website for yourself or for a client, and then you need a step-by-step guide on how to get it done, then do make sure you watch this video to the end because I'm going to be walking you through all of the process. And to make it more interesting, all the features we are going to be using, the theme, the plugins and everything is going to be free, because that's one of the key things that I make sure in this video. So if you are worried about having to pay a certain amount or to part away with some amount to acquire a premium theme or a premium plugin so that you can have a car dealership website, then you have nothing to worry about because everything in this video is absolutely free. Okay. So before we get into the video proper, if you are new to this channel or you are yet to subscribe to the channel, kindly take out time to click on that subscribe button right now. So it's absolutely free to subscribe. Okay. So just go down and click on that subscribe button. So we are waiting for you to do that. So you just find that subscribe button, right? So thank you very much if you have just done that, and also click on that bell icon so that you get notified of any future or subsequent videos. All right, so now what I want to do next is to show you a preview, okay, of the website that we're going to be creating in this video. So let me come over here. So like you can see what we're having here. This is the domain that for this website. So if I should refresh it, you see that this is a live website already. And okay, so you can see it here. So you're tested, trusted, and reliable. So you can see this is this effect, Kansas City car dealer. So if I should scroll down, so here is the search for this listing, to search for the listing, and then we have this link here where we have the browse inventory, get reapproved. Okay, so basically in this video I'm going to be walking you through how to create something like this, and more importantly, not just how to create this exact website, but also you'll be able to create maybe something better, okay, so that you can be creative in creating something maybe different, but you'll also be able to achieve what you intend to do, which is a car listing or car directory website. Okay, so if you also scroll down, you can see here trending searches, and then we have these four categories. You can see cars for sale under $5,000, SUV starting at $10,000, used car from $10,000, and then low mileage pickup trucks. Okay, so you can be creative with yours. You can see browse by types, so you can have the categories of cars that you have in your listing. And if you look at it here, you can see this is telling us that okay, there's one listing under this category. Under pickup we have 4 listings, under sedan we have 5 listings. So, and you can see there's a link here to say that says see all types. So if you should also scroll down, so you can see what the listing page looks like. So we have an image of the car. Let me open this in a new tab. So we have an image of the car, and then you can see the category here is appearing, pickup truck, the title of the car. Then we can have all this other information here. So you can see this is telling us that it uses gasoline, it's a 4-wheel drive. This is telling us about the mileage. It's talking about the year. It's talking about the category that, oh, this is a pickup truck, and it's talking about the brand. So the same thing applies here. So you can see that there's an option here. You can see to reply to these listings. You can add it to your favorites. Okay. So if you scroll down, so this is it. So there's also a link here that says see all car. See all car. Should be see all car or see all cars. Okay. All right. So here we have just testimonial. So the trust from our clients. So you can just be creative with whatever you want to use. This is also our testimonial section. And then we have these 2 testimonials here. And then here we have an image carousel which shows logos of different brands of cars. All right, so this is just towards the footer, and then we have this information here. So Kansas City car dealer, because that's what we use as a domain, like you can see it's right here at the top here. Okay, so excellent car dealership, and this text here, and then we have some of these counters here. So 900 plus vehicles available right now, 12 plus here, 7 Kansas City. So then after that we have this footer which is showing the logo, and then something about the organization. Then we have these quick links, and then some social link. Okay, so let me show you what the listing page and then the So I just created it with just this listing page, the contact, the frequent FAQ. We also have a privacy policy page, the terms and condition page. So let me walk you through some of those pages. Now let's look at what individual listing looks like. So if you open any of the pages to check out the listing, this is what it will look like. Okay, so you're going to have the title, okay, of the listing, which is this pickup truck here. If you scroll down, you can see there are other images of the truck, as you can see here. So once you click on it, it automatically changes here. Okay, and then the information that we saw earlier. So I'm going to be putting you through how to create all of these. You can see what we have at the doing here. Let me show you. So what we have here, the information that we have here, it's also appearing on the product page itself, on the car page itself. And then below it, we have related listings. Okay, so you can see this is for truck. You can see this is a Toyota Tacoma. It's a pickup truck. So we are also going to see related listings just below it of other trucks that is available, so you can see it. So if it was a sedan, you're going to see other sedans, and then it's self-customizable. Like now we're having just 1, 2, 3. So if you want to have it like 4 under related listing, you can also have that. Okay, so right here we also have the price. Then you can also reply to listing. So you as the car dealer, you can have your profile show up here, so you can see it here. So this is the profile of the car dealer, okay, that is actually selling this particular pickup truck. All right, so now let's take a look at the listing page. So you can see this is what the listing page looks like. So you can search based on keyword. You can also put in maybe your mileage, the minimum or the maximum. Then you can also maybe search based on the brand. So you can see it here. So these are the brands that are available. So you can search based on brand. And then if you just want to go through all the listings that is available, you can see it. So you can also sort it based on the year, dates, title, year, based on mileage. Let's see what else, based on ratings. All right, so if you should scroll down, you can see these are all the cars that we currently have listed on the website. Okay, so on the left side, you're going to see this filter. So if you also want to filter based on price, based on the year, based on brand, you can also make use of this filter maybe while searching all the available listings on the website. Okay, so if you're finding value, please give the video a thumbs up. So this is what the listing page looks like. Okay, so now let's look at the contact page. So this is what the contact page look like. We made it very simple. So you can see we have your phone number, the address, email, then working hours, and then we have this map here, which will show your location. So it can be as a guide to your location. Okay, and then we also have this carousel for showing the logos of different car brands. And so this part of the footer, I made sure it appears across all the pages. So, and then we also have a frequently asked questions section. That's the FAQ. And this was created using accordion. I'm going to be putting you through how to create all of this so you can see it here. So this is going to be some answers to some of the questions that prospective clients might have. So you can put it here. So you can be creative with yours, because the main thing I want to, like I said in this video, is to put you through so that you can even come up with something better. Okay, so you can see, do you offer financing option? Can I trade in my current vehicle? So you can see the answer here. Do I need a down payment to buy a car? What document do I need to buy a car? And every other common frequently asked question as long as car dealership is concerned. And again, we have this image carousels of different car brands and the likes. So that's just a walkthrough of what we are going to be creating in this video. So let's go back to the home page. So you can see we are going to be recreating this website and putting you through into everything that you need to know about creating a car dealership website. All right, so with that being said, so the next thing we are going to be talking about now is some of the 2 things that you are going to need for us to get started with creating this website. Number 1, you're going to need your domain name. Your number 2, you're going to need hosting. So in case you don't know what those terms means, domain name basically means your website name. Okay, for example, for us to come over to this website, we need to type in kansascitycardealer.com. Okay, so that's what we mean by the domain name. Maybe if you want to go on Google now, you just need to type in google.com. So you understand, if you want to go to CNN, you need to type in cnn.com. So all those .com and the likes, or the .org, are what we refer to as, as domain name. Exactly. So we need to get that, and we also need to get hosting. So hosting means all this information that you have on your website, all the images, the text, and everything on your website, they're actually being saved on a server, which makes it accessible to you on the internet. Okay, it's just, in other words, it's just like an housing for all the information that you have on your website. Okay, so those are the two things that we will actually need to get for us to get started with creating this website. Okay. So to get started with acquiring your domain and hosting, one platform that comes highly recommendable is Hostinja. So I'm currently on the page now, so you can use the link on the screen or just below this video to come over to this page. So you can see here, you can see everything you need to create a website, and it's offering you up to 75% off on hosting. So for you to get started with this, so just come over here, and you can see there's an option to change your language, especially if English is not your first language and you want to change it. So you can come over here to change your language. So once you're on this page, you can, if you click on claim deal, you can see there are different plans that you can pick. That is for your hosting. Okay. And why I'm also recommending it, apart from the fact that they offer a very good service in terms of hosting, is you're also going to be getting a free domain. Okay, for the first year. That's if you are picking from the 12-month plan, which is the minimum plan that I also recommend that you pick. Okay, so once you are here, there's a premium, business, and then the cloud startup. Now, if you want to look at the difference between all of these, you're going to find them here. Okay, but based on recommendation, I also recommend you get started with the business plan. Okay, so if there's any need for you to upgrade, then you can easily upgrade to the cloud plan. Okay, so once you are here, so just click on choose plan. So you can see here we have the business web hosting, which is the plan that we selected. So it's asking you the period. So like I said, I'll recommend you choose the 12 months because that gives you enough time to actually decide if you want to continue with having the website, and with that, you also have enough time to also try other things during the period of that 12 months. Okay, and the most important thing is that if you choose from the 12 months, you also be getting a free domain. You can see, want a free domain, choose a plan that's 12 months or longer. So with this 12-month plan, we're going to be getting a free domain. So we've selected 12 months. So if you look at it here, 12-month plan, we're also going to be getting daily backup for free, domain name. We also have a free domain name, 0, at no extra cost. So you can see, so the total now is pegged at $59.88, which is at a discounted price. You can see the normal price should have been $207.94, but since it's coming at a discounted price, remember, as I showed you earlier, we are getting it 74%, 75% off plus a free domain. So now we are going to be paying just $59.88. Okay, so that's the more reason why you need to come over to this page using the link below. All right, so once we are done here, we've selected the period, and then we are okay with this. We click on continue. So the next thing to ask for you to do is to create an account. Okay, so you put in your email, you put in your password, and then you click on register. So once you are done with the registration process and then you verified your email, so the next page you might come across now is for you to enter your billing address. So this is where you're going to put in your first name, your last name, your country of residence. Just fill in some of these basic details, and then your phone number. So once you are done filling all of this information, then you'll be able to make payments. So you can see there are different payment options available. You can pay using your card, then you can pay using PayPal, Google Pay, Alipay, this is a bank, and then you can also use CoinGate. Okay, so different payment options will be available to you depending on your country. So definitely you won't have problem with making payments. All right. So once you are done with this and then you've submitted your payments, you'll be directed to your Hostinja account. Okay, so now let's move over to our Hostinja account. All right, so right now I'm currently on my Hostinja account. So once you are here, so just come over to websites. So you click on websites to show you website list. Since it's a new account, there are chances that you won't have any website on your hosting account. Exactly, so you don't need to worry. So you just look for this option that says add website. So click on add website. Now this website you are going to be creating is using WordPress. So you just come over here and click on WordPress. So here you'll be asked some list of questions. So you can decide to skip it and you can decide to answer it randomly. So let's say I'm creating a website for myself or business, and I click on next. So the next thing you have to do is to create login details for your WordPress account. Now, please, you need to take note of this. So here we have your WordPress admin email. This is the email that you're going to be using to log in, and then your administrator password. So make sure you put in a password there. Now, there's going to be a default password. They're going to provide you with a default password, but make sure you put your own password. And like our advice, make sure you take note of that password. Maybe I might probably need to write it out somewhere so that you don't forget. Okay. So you put in your password, and then once you are done with that, just click on next. All right, so the next thing to ask you is, do you want to create a website with AI, or you want to pre-built website and theme? So just come over here and click on create blank site. So let me click on create blank site. All right. So next thing is, what domain or subdomain would you like to use? So remember, we've already secured our hosting already, and now it's asking us what is the domain we want to use. But since this is a fresh account, a new hosting account that you just acquired, like I said, you're going to be getting a free domain. So what you're going to do now is to put the name of the domain that you want to use. Okay. So you can go ahead and put in the domain that you want to use. For me now, I'll be using this domain, gazettegpt.com. So this is the domain I want to use. However, there are three options here. You can, if you look at it here, it says claim your free domain, or buy a new one, or confirm a domain you already owned. Okay. All right. So this, let me explain the three options. Claim your free domain. Remember when we are acquiring our hosting, I said for anything from the 12-month plan, you're going to be getting a free, hosting. Okay. So that's the first option. The other one is you can decide to buy a new domain. So that is if maybe if you want to create another website later and then you've used your free domain, then you can decide to buy a new domain, or you can also use a domain that you already own, okay, from another registrar. Okay, and that is what I want to use. I have already claimed my own free domain, so I want to use a domain I already own. So this, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be using this domain, which is one of my domains, which is gazettegpt.com. It has nothing to do with cars, but it doesn't matter right now for this tutorial, just to explain to you. Okay, but if you are yet to claim your free domain, once you put in the domain name, you'll see an option, and the domain is available. Okay, you'll see an option that will tell you to claim a free domain. All right, so this is it here. I click on it. So since it's a domain that is registered on another platform, if you say this domain is registered at another provider, you have to verify you own it when you connect it to your site. Okay, so I've already done that. So basically what it means is, that's for those of you that want to use a domain from another registrar. So Hostinger will want you to put in what we call name server. So you're going to go head over to your where you have you bought that domain from, and then update your name server right there. So I've done a separate video about that, so it's nothing very difficult, and then you might just need to wait for some few minutes for them to link. So it's just a way of verifying your domain name, exactly, so that someone else cannot just pick any random domain and claim they own it. All right, so once you have put in the domain here, you have it, and you have claimed it, or you have put in it here, so just come over here and click on install WordPress. So like you can see now, we are currently installing WordPress. So this might take a few minutes. Personally, to take less than maybe 5 minutes. Okay, so let's just wait for it to. I don't need to wait. We'll just forward the video. So guys, if you are finding value in this video, please give the video a thumbs up. Okay. All right. So now we are currently on our WordPress dashboard. You can see the installation is complete, and this is the page that you are going to be shown. You can see here we have onboarding, and then we have the dashboard. So this is what it's going to look like. So before we get started with anything, there are some basic things that I just like to do. So let's come over to plugins. So let's come over to install plugins. So by default, there are some plugins that Hostinger will just automatically install on our website. I'm still going to explain what some of these things means, but we'll just go ahead and just take them out. Apart from this light speed cache, so what I'll do is, after selecting it, I'm going to deactivate, apply. So then select them again, this Hostinger tools, Hostinger easy onboarding, Hostinger AI. And then what I want to do is to delete them. Okay. All right. So now that I've taken this out, there's another thing I also like to do is, if you look here, it is always showing email address. I don't want it to be showing email address. I just want it to be showing my name or something. Okay. So I'll just come over here, click on it. Okay. So I'll just scroll down to, so I'll first of all input first name and then last name. So you can put anything that best. You can put your name or the name of your business. Exactly. Then you come to where we have nickname. Okay, no, sorry, display name publicly as. So I can just select maybe I just want it to show Prosper here. All right. So another thing that you can do right here is to change the appearance. You can see here, if you change it to light, this is what this side will look like. If you change it to this is what it's going to look like. But I would just like to work with the default. Okay. All right, so if you want to put it in a profile picture instead of just showing this black and white here, so this is where you can do that. If you want to set new password, you can do that here. All right, so let me just update that. All right, so now I can easily click on the dashboard now. Remember that onboarding is no longer there. So now we have this welcome to WordPress. So if you are new to WordPress, let me dismiss this. If you are new to WordPress, this is what the WordPress dashboard actually looks like. So we have all these options on the left side. We have the dashboard, post, media, pages. So we are going to be touching a whole lot of them. And like you can see here, we have just limited like maybe all of these. But as we add more features to the website, you're going to see that the options that we are having here are going to keep increasing. Another thing we also need to do is to come over to settings. So we have this general writing, reading, discussion, media, permalink. So let me just open everything. Okay, so let me leave privacy and light speed. So under general, so this is where we can put in our site title. Okay, so this is where you put in your site title. So just like I said, just ignore the domain that I'm using. So remember, this is the website we are trying to replicate. Okay, this is which is a Kansas City car dealer. So under the general, I'll just put in site name. So Kansas City car dealer. So you can also put in a tagline so that you can see what you say in a few words, explain what the site is about. Like you can just have just another WordPress site. I can say your trusted car dealer in Kansas City. So I can just put it there. So this is where you put in an icon. Okay, your site icon. Now the meaning of this site icon is let me give you an example. So if you open if you should open Google now, but you can see this icon here. Okay, so this icon is what we're talking about here. That if you want to put in a site icon, so this is where you can put in your site icon. So instead of showing this globe, okay, so instead of showing this globe, black and white globe, it will show you probably your site's logo and the likes. So this is where you do that. So let's quickly do that. Okay, so I'm not bringing any image, so let me just select files and then, so let me just use, okay, so let me just use this. So I click on open and then select as icon. So this is it. So you can see that this is a preview, showing you a preview. So I can just click on crop image. So you can see it here. So this is what is going to be showing moving henceforth. All right. So membership, anyone can register. Now, if you are creating a site that allows, maybe a car dealership site that allows other people to also list, so you can also check this option that anyone can register. But that's not what I'm creating here. I just want something that a car dealer can have and upload their cars there. All right. Okay. So if you want to set your time zone and then your date format, if this interests you, and then your time format, this is where you set it. And then your week starts when? Is it Monday or Sunday or whichever one? So you pick it and then you click on save. All right. So those are the options available under general settings. Then under writing, for now, we don't have anything to do here. We still need to come back here. So then for reading, also nothing. Discussion. Allow people to submit comments on new posts. So this option, you can decide to uncheck it, but let me also leave that for now. So there's another one that is of very interest to us is our permalinks. Although right now WordPress have updated it to make sure that it is always set to post name, which is highly recommendable. But if for anything you check it and yours is anything different than post name, just make sure you change this to post name. Okay, so it makes your website link looks more neater and then for SEO purpose. All right. So I just wanted to make sure that I touch all of those, and then the important one is what I've just explained to you now. So let me close those tabs. Okay, so now we are back to our dashboard now. So you can see it here now that the site icon that we've added, this is it here. Okay, so now I currently have 3 tabs here. Now this tab here is for the reference websites. So take note. So this is how you can differentiate it. And for you to differentiate that also, you can see it here. This is kansascitycardealer.com. And the website I want to create, this is it here. You can see it has this white background site icon. This is having a colorless background. Okay, so that's why you're not seeing it. And I'm using a dark mode browser. My browser is dark mode, so you might not see the one here. So this is how you can differentiate it, and you can see this is gpt.com. So I don't want you to mix it up while we are working. So now that we have acquired our domain, we've acquired our hosting. So another thing that we also need to do right now is to install our themes and our plugin. Now let me just give you a brief explanation on what the theme is. Now, just like you have it on your phone, we also have themes on phone. You know, when you install a particular theme on your phone, it changes the feel of, you know, of how your phone appears. You know, the appearance of your phone changes. Okay, so that's basically another thing that the theme also does here. But before that, let me just show you what our website currently looks like. So you can see it here. This is what our website looks like. And what we want to do is to take it from what we have here to this. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and install the theme. So to do that, you come over to appearance, and then you see themes. Now by default, you're going to see three themes here. That's that of the current year, and then the last 2 years. The theme that I want to use is neither of these. So come over here to click on add theme. So you come over here to here we have search themes, and then you look for listing Hive. Okay, I think I got this spelling wrong. Listing Hive. Okay, so this is the theme that we are going to be using. So I'll go ahead and click on install. So there's no need for me to preview it because we are sure of what we want to use. So once I do that, then I activate. All right, so now that we've done that, so I can go ahead and delete these other ones that are here. So go ahead and just delete it. And so if there's any theme or any plugin that you're not using, it's always advisable to just go ahead and delete them. It helps you save some space on your hosting. Okay. All right, so this is one that we have here. So now that we've installed a new theme, if I should come over to this website now, so our front page, and then I refresh it, you see that installing new theme changed the feel of what the website looks like. Okay, so that's the theme there. So now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to install a demo. Okay, so you can see like what we are having here, this preview that you are seeing here is a demo. The demo will make it much more easier for us to in creating our website. But before we can install that demo, there's a plugin we need to install. So I come over here to plugin and install plugins. Now, like I said, plugins are like see them as the apps you have on your phone. Okay, you know, if you want to go on WhatsApp, you need to download the WhatsApp app. If you want to watch a video on your phone, you need a video app. If you want to browse, you need a browser app. So basically, the plugins helps to add more functionalities and more features to your website. Okay, so you just need to take note of that. All right, so we also have another thing here. It says this theme recommend the following plugin, Hivepress. Okay, so we can also install that now. So let me click on begin installing plugin. So I can click on install. So that has already been installed. So you can see successfully installed the plugin Hivepress. All right, so let me say return to required plugin installer. Okay, so let me go ahead and activate it. Okay, so we've activated that, and then let's return to our dashboard. Okay, so you can see that now we are already having more options here. You can see here we already have Hivepress, we have listings, and then we already have vendors. Okay, so you can see gradually we're having more options here. So like I said, now I want to bring in a demo template that will make it much more easier for us as we create our car listing website. So for us to do that, I said we're going to install another plugin. So install. So we've come over here, click on add new. So the plugin we want to install now is called one click demo imports. Okay, you can see it here. So with over 1 million active installations right now. So just click on install now. And then you go ahead and activate. All right, so you can see these are the plugins we currently have. So now that that has been installed, you come over to appearance. So under appearance, you see import demo data. So click on it. All right, so before we come in, say if you want to start with the listing Hive demo content, please follow the screenshot to import it. So basically, once you open this link, so you'll be taken to this page. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description. This is where you're going to download the demo content files. Okay, so once you download it, you're going to be having a file. So from that file, you're going to be having three contents inside, and then that's what we are going to be uploading here. So you come over here. So you see where we have import content. So you just come over here, select import content. So you'll find three. So you can see, you'll find this file there. You also find this customizer.dat, and then you also find there are actually three. So, but the one that we actually need is the contents. This one that has content. So select it and click on open. So you're also going to find that of widgets, but don't upload any of those. Just this one. So then you come here and click on continue and import. So now we are done with the import. So you can see now it's asking us to visit our site. So that's what our site currently looks like. So I can go ahead to close this. So now you can see this is what our website currently looks like. So you can see that it's different from gradually our website is still taking shape. So we have this, and this is what our home page currently looks like, and this is what the home page is. Okay, so since it's a demo site, this is what it's going to look like. So what we are going to do now is to take it from this, from where we currently are, this. Okay, so it's a process and we are making progress. So if you are finding value in this video, please kindly give the video a thumbs up. Okay. All right, so now that we've imported the demo content, another thing we want to do now is to add some extensions. Okay, so just come over to where we have this Hivepress, and then you see your extensions here. So just click on it. So you can see now these are the extensions, the combination of both free and paid ones. But like I said, let me just walk you through. So if you see, this is for bookings, this is request, marketplace, membership, social alert, and the likes. But the one that we actually need is number one, the messages. So you're going to install this. This allows you to receive messages. So actually, I can't just do everything at once. I have to do it one after the other. So the next one is favorite. So the ones that we pick is favorite, messages, and then review. Okay. So if you want to put in the geolocation options, you can see allows user to search listing by location. Okay, but I won't be using it in this. Okay, so I just click on install this, and I activate. All right. So there's another one which is a paid listing. So that is if you want to allow other users to be able to list on your website. Maybe you want other car dealers to be able to add their listings, then you can go ahead and add that particular plugin. Okay, so we've put in all of the extensions that we actually need. So now what we want to do now is come over to Hivepress. Then you click on settings. So let's just walk through some of the settings real quick. So now you can see that with some of the plugins that we've installed, the options again are already increasing. So you can see it now. All right, so but now let's come over here under listing page. So we are going to select listings. So that will be our page for our listing. So anytime you click on listing on the page, take us to your listing. Then listing page display category instead of listing. So if you wanted to display the categories available instead of listing, you check this. Regular listing per page is currently set to 8. And then, so it's a matter of preference. Featured listing per page, you can set how many we want. Rated listing per page is currently set to 3. And the meaning of this, I explained to you earlier. So if you look at let's open this again. So if I come down to this, remember we're on our reference website. So you can see that related listing, we currently have it to 1, 2, 3. So this is the meaning here. So if you come over here, if you also want it to be 3 or you want it to be more than 3, this is where you put it. So if you want to add a title, let's see, it says set the title display format to generate title based on attributes. Okay, the following tokens are available. Okay, so we've not talked about attributes. We're also going to talk about attribute later. So basically, if you want to have your title based on some attributes, you can also set this option, but I'm not going to be using it. So there are also other options here based on search, default search keyword, default sorting, is it based on date? So there are some optional settings and things that you can just go through here. So if you make any changes, always make sure you save them. So if you look at under review, let's look at settings available under review. All right, so submission, allow submitting multiple reviews. If you want this, check this. Moderation, manually approve new review. So this is checked automatically, which is okay by me. So replies, allow replying to review. So if you want reply to review, so I've selected that. For vendors, so display vendors on the front end. So this is checked. If you don't want it, you can uncheck that. Then vendor page, if you want to have a page for vendor, you can select it. Vendors per page. And then the search, under the search also, these are the options there. So if you make any changes here, do make sure you save. And then under users, so display profile on the front end. If you want the display name, is it their first name that you want to use? And then registration term page. So if there's a terms and condition for people that are registering on your website, you understand, and then you want to let them to see the terms registration page, okay, or registration term page rather. So you can select the pages, the page here. Okay, so allow users to register, yes. If you want them to register, leave this. Generate username from email. Require email verification. So I want this here. They should also always verify their email. So once this is done, click on save changes. And then message. So for messages now, let's see. Allow file attachments. Do you want people to be able to add attachments when sending message? Refresh interval 60. So if there's anything you don't understand here from this Hivepress settings, so you can just click on this question mark icon. It will give you a little description of what each of those things means there. Okay, so if there's anything you do here, do make sure you save. And then we have integrations. So there's nothing much to do here. If you have any integration that you want to put that applies to this, you can just do them. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I walk you through the settings. All right, so that's it on the Hivepress and the settings. Now the next thing we want to do is, now we are gradually going to the point where we start to list some of our listing. Exactly, so that's our cars. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to create categories. Okay, so for us to create those categories, you are going to come over to listings. So if I should click on listings now, so remember we imported a demo site, so that's why we are having all of this, but we are still going to delete them and bring in our own information. So come over to categories. Okay, so you can see these are the categories that is currently here: for sale, real estate, and services. Now let me show you what it looks like on the front page of the website. Let me go to home. And this is the demo contents that we imported. So you can see this is the category: real estate, services, and then for sale. So if you come to the back end, this is it here: for sale, real estate, and services. So now we don't want this. This is not the kind of category that we want. So I'll just select it, delete, bulk action, delete, and then I apply. Now, what kind of category do we want to create here? Now, this category, since it's a car listing website, this is where we can create a category for our cars. Okay, so that's where we can have our coupe, our hatchback, our pickup, our sedan, our SUV. You understand? So this is it here. These are categories. You can see it here: the hatchback, the pickup, the sedan, the coupe. Okay, so those are categories, and that's how to create it. So let me close this tab. So since we are here now, so let me call this group, then the slug, you can leave it like that. Then for the image, now they said this is optional, but I'll recommend that you put in an image because it's the image that you had. Okay, let me go back to the home page. Is the image that you had that will appear here. Okay, so you can see this image is here. Okay, and there's another thing I also need to mention, or even though I didn't pay attention to it right here, make sure that the size of the image you are using for your categories are the same, so that you won't have the issue of one image looking bigger than the other. You can see this hatchback now is a little longer than this pickup and sedan. That's because the image size is different. Okay, and you can see this is a little smaller than other three, so you need to pay attention to this. So make sure the image size are equal. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create our own category. I've added coupe, so let me put in an image. So I'll come over here to select image. Okay, so let me import image. So I'll click on upload image and upload file, select file. Okay, so these are so let me look for a coupe. So I've selected that image, so I just click on select image, so you can see it here. Okay, then you click on add category. So the category has already been added. So this is how you go ahead and create as many categories as possible. So let me just add one more. So let me walk you through again. So pickup truck. So I've selected an image, I click on add category. So you can see it here. So pickup truck. So you can also use this link to view it. I've opened it in a new tab. So you can see it here, pickup truck, and you can see the image we added is showing at the header background right here. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'll go ahead and add as many categories as possible. So guys, I've gone ahead to add, I think, 6 of these categories. We have van, SUV, sports car, sedan, pickup truck, and then coupe or coupe. Okay, so there's another thing I also want to show you is, so let me just use this as an example, select image. So I've gone ahead to add all the images that I'm going to be using in the course of this video tutorial, so I don't need to keep uploading image one after the other. So always make sure that before you upload any image into your WordPress site, make sure the title of the image, you understand, make sure the image is titled according to the picture, okay? And then once you upload it, you can also copy the title here and just paste it into your alt text, okay? But the important thing is that before you upload it, okay, make sure that the title of the image, okay, on your computer is something related to what that image is all about and will transfer to the website, okay? So it's just advisable for SEO purposes, okay? For example, now we have this particular one. You can see that the title here is under CRV 2020. So I can just copy the title also and then put it here. Okay, so just take notes of all of those things. Okay. All right, so now that we've added our category, now the next thing we want to add is attributes. Okay, so you can see attributes here. So once you click on attributes, so these are the attributes from the demo content that we imported earlier. So I'll just go select everything and then I'll go ahead and delete it so that we can create our own, move to trash, apply. So we can create our own attributes. Now, basically attributes basically means in this terms means some features of cars generally. Okay, so there's another category of that we can use to classify some of those cars. And what are the features that you find there? We have something like you can give it attributes like brand, price, model, the year, you know, the drive type, the body, the transmission, the mileage, the fuel types. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like on the front end. Now remember, this is our reference website. You can see all these things. This gasoline, this 2022, that's the year. This 4WD, that's the transmission. The pickup truck, the brand, okay, the mileage, okay, this represent mileage. So these are attributes, okay, so that's the meaning of attributes, okay. So that's what we want to do next. So for us to do that, so let me close this, let me also close this. So for us to do that, this is where you are going to add those attributes. Okay, so now you come over here and click on add attributes. Okay, so you can just, you know, be creative with your own attributes. Okay, so it's not compulsory you use exactly what I use, and there are some, if in case I didn't mention any attributes here, you can go ahead and add it to yours. All right, so the first attribute I want to bring in is brand. Okay, so brand in this sense, now we are talking about the brands of the car, not the category now. Like maybe the Audi, the BMW, the Ford, the Honda. Okay, so that's what the first attribute I want to bring in. So there are other features here once you select the brand. So number one, it says allow front-end editing. I want to check this, yes. So then it's asking me for the field name. So I also leave it as brand, okay. Then the field type. So if you select field type, there are different options here, okay? And different options actually works for different things, okay? So I'll just show you some of them that we are going to be using. All right, so the field type for this now, we're going to use select, okay? So if you really want to understand how these things work, you can just select one option and look at what happens on the front end, but I will explain as many as possible here. So now we've selected brand as our field type. So for the placeholder, so you can just use select a brand. So let's scroll down. Allow multiple selection. If you want this, then you can actually select that. Yes, you want multiple selection. Okay. So it's actually the maximum. All right. So there's another option that usually pop up later. Do you want this field to be marked as required? All right. Yes. All right. So let me explain something here. So this brand, if I should come over to the front end of this reference website, if I should go to the listing page, so you can see it here, select the brand. So you can see it here, this is where you can select the brand. Now, for example, maybe I'm searching for a car and I want to, I can select that token Nissan. You can see I can select multiple and I want Tesla. So you can see that means while in this our reference website, this option was checked in that allow multiple selection. Okay, so that's the meaning. All right, so that attribute is also one of it now. So if you also come over here to search, okay, so do you want it to display in the filter form? All right, so do you want it to display? Yes, I want it. So do you want it to include in keyword search? Okay, and then display in sorting option. So I also want it to display in sorting option. All right, so let me also show you what that means. Display in filter form. So you can see it here. This is the filter section. So you can see it here. This is the search section, and you can see this is the sorting section. All right, so if you want that particular attribute to show up there, okay, so you can see it here. So it will fall under this sort by. You will see it here. You also see it under this search, and then you also see it under this filter. Okay, so you can see it here. See it here. Look at it. This is brand. So you can see this is the attribute, and then you can come here and also select brand. All right, so that's the meaning of what we are having here, because you are going to come across this when you are adding other attributes too. So there is not all the attributes that you want to appear under the filter. It's not everything you want to appear under search. It's not everything you want to appear under the sort. So this is where you are going to select when you are creating each attribute. This is where you're also going to select where you want them to appear. Okay. All right. So for the field type also, I'm also going to stick with select. Okay. So they are optional, okay, but you can just put it in like that. All right, now for this now, which is the display. Now, if you click here, you're going to see that you're having different options: block primary, block secondary, block tertiary. We also have page primary, page secondary, and page tertiary. Now, what this means is, where do you want that brand also, to appear on the website itself? Now, let's go back to our reference website. Okay, so again, don't forget, whenever I come to this our reference website, you can just use this logo. You can use this, especially the domain name to differentiate it. Now let me show you the different position of those things. Now let me open this in a new tab. Now you see this particular car. Now we are currently on the page. You can see this page is just for this particular car. Okay, so this position here that you are seeing where we have our price is what we call the page primary. Okay, that's another thing you can use to know it. We are on the page now. This entire page is for this car. Every other information has to do with this car. Okay, this car here, or this particular listing here, is our main focus. So that's why it's a page. So this is a primary, page primary here. And then if you look at here, this information that we are having here, these are other attributes also. All these attributes here is under the page secondary. Okay, so we are still going to come across the page secondary. So if you want any of those attributes to appear here, you also include them as your page primary. Okay, then we also have the body. Okay, so that's for the page. Okay, so those are the two options. I didn't actually use the tertiary. Okay, then now let's come back here so you can see it here. So I've shown you where page primary and page secondary, that's the position where you find them. Now for block primary and block secondary, now let me show you. Now the block means once you see them like this, even if it's on the home page, as you are seeing it like this is like a block on its own. You can see this is another block. Okay, so you can see this information that you are seeing here as it's appearing here also. That means this is the block secondary. Okay, so take notes. The block secondary. And here where we are having price is the block primary. Okay, so it can be very confusing, but just take note of those positions. All right, so I didn't actually use tertiary. I didn't use tertiary anywhere. I think tertiary should be somewhere above this also. Okay, but just take note of it. For block, this is the block secondary, and where we are having this price here is the block primary. So the one thing that can make you to understand is the block is where you are looking at it like this, alongside other listings, okay, or other products, okay. But for the page is when you open it and then you are seeing it like this entire page. Okay, so that's the meaning. All right, so for this now, for the brand, so I only want it to appear on the block secondary. So I come over here, I select block secondary. Okay, so then it asks you for the icon. Now let me show you. You can see that all this icon, like this, we have this car, we have this calendar icon, we have this cog or this gear icon, we have this road, then we have this fuel dispenser icon. Okay, so whatever icon that you want to show beside the brand is what this way I'm going to put it. Okay, so the best thing I would say is you just go through all these icons. You can see there are a lot of them here, so that you can get familiar with some of this icon. So, but for this now, the icon I want to use is car. So since I've gone through it already, I already have idea of the icons that are here. So I select car. Okay, so now this is asking you how you want it to appear. Okay, so the way I want it to appear is, look at it here. I want the icon to show, and after the icon, I also want the brand to show. Okay, remember that I selected block secondary, so it's already show on the block, it will not show on the page. Now, for example, using this now, you can see that the brand for this particular car is Toyota. Okay, so that's why you can see it here, that the car icon, and then you're having Toyota here. But you'll see that it is not appearing on the page, because if you look at the setup I'm doing right now, I only selected block secondary. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. All right, so for me to make the icon to appear, so I'll just put this percentage icon percentage, and then I'll give it a space. Okay, so it will make it appear like this. You can see there's an icon and there's a little this space here, and then we have the brand name. All right, so that's how you go ahead to do that. So once you are done, you don't need to select the category that you want it to appear, okay, because I want this brand to work for all categories of cars that we have. So what you just do is you go ahead and publish. All right, so once you publish, another option will pop up here under this editing. You see it options. That's because we choose the field type to be select. So this is where you are going to click and add the name of the brand. So I click on edit option. So now it's acting under brand. It's telling me now to add option. So the option I want to add is I want to add Audi or Audi. Okay. So there's no need to add image. You click on add option, so you can see it here. So I also want to add BMW as part of the brand options available. So what I'll do now is to go ahead and add as many brand as possible. Okay, so that we save our time, save ourselves the time. So I've gone ahead to add, as you can see here, Kai, Jeep, Hyundai, Honda, Chevrolet, Ford, BMW, and Audi. So I've added more brands. So we can now go back. So you can see now this, we are done with that now. So now I want to add another. So let me add one more attribute. So let me put you through again. So now I want to add another attribute, and this time is price. Okay. So if you also go back to so you can see it here. This is another attribute, price. So you can see it here, and then it's also appearing right here too. So this is also part of the attributes. Okay. So I'll come over to the site here I'm working on now. So I want it to be allow front-end editing. Now for the field name, I also want it to be price. Now for the field type, so this time around, I'm going to be using numbers. You understand, since the price is going to be in number. Okay, so I'm going to select number, and then you see that for numbers also, so you can see that there are different another set of options that will appear. Okay, so you also want to put in a placeholder. So I'll select price for this as the placeholder. All right. So if you want to put in minimum value of one, but I won't be putting that here. So the description is actually optional. So I want this field to also to be marked as required. So another reason why I'm marking it as required is when anyone is adding a listing, okay, this information needs to be provided. Okay, so that's why I'm putting it as marked as required. So under the search, so I also want this to be to filterable, okay, display in filter form so that you can also search based on price on the filter section, then include in indexable, yes, display in sorting option. Okay, so let me just leave this. Okay, so then for field type also, I also select numbers. Okay, number. All right, so then I come over to display. So where do I want the price to show? Okay, so I only want this to show in block primary and also page primary. Okay, page primary. Now let me give you one tip about this thing, because it can actually be confusing. So what I would say is this: so if you are creating a particular attribute and you are not sure where it's going to appear, just like we have it here, you can just select one, block primary, save it. That's after you must have created a particular listing. Save it, go on the listing of that particular car or that particular item, and pay attention to where it's going to appear and take note of it, okay, because it can be very confusing. Okay, but I've taken my time to explain it. So this will appear in the block primary and the block secondary. Look at it here. So like I said, this is the block primary. I'm mixing this up myself. Block primary and page primary. You can see this is the page primary. This is the way it will appear because it's page primary. For block primary, it will appear here. Okay, as you selected block secondary, it will appear as part of this information here. Okay, so you need to take note of that. All right, so then for the icon, since it is price, so the icon I'm going to use is the dollar. So there's a dollar. So you can see there's a dollar sign. So for this now, I also want the dollar sign to show. So I'll put in percentage icon and then percent. I want to add space to this. Okay. And then with that, I'll click on save. All right. So I've walked you through how to add two attributes now. So I want to go ahead and add other attributes so that will save us more time. So if I should come over to attribute now, you can see we already have price, we already have brand. Okay, so let me go ahead and add other attributes. So this is another different one. While creating that of the year, there's something different that I selected here, which is different from the other two that I showed earlier. Now, under this search option, for the field type, I selected number range, okay? And you can see out of other options, I selected number range. So this is what happens with number range. So you can see that under year, so you can see this is it makes it show in this form. Okay, so what I will also say, just in case I didn't mention, is you can play around with this these options here. Okay, so you can play around with it, select one other option, come over to your listing page or to the product page and see how it will appear. Okay, so that will give you more understanding on how some of this, because actually some of these things that you select here, they all have their own effect or their own meaning. Okay, so you don't just pick them randomly without being sure of what they're actually working for. Okay, so I need to actually explain that. And you can see for the display area, I selected block secondary and then page secondary. Okay, all right. So I've gone ahead to add the following attributes: fuel type, mileage, transmission, body, drive type, the year, and then the price and the package. I think this was the first three that I actually showed you, but I've gone ahead to add these other ones. Okay, all right. So like I said, just with with what I've showed you when I was creating brand, price, and here, you should be able to do the rest. Okay, just play around with those options and then you understand what they work for. Now, the next thing I want to do is vendors. So let's come over to vendor and then create a vendor. Now, by default, you're going to see this Brian Peterson. So let me just go ahead and delete this person. And let me just trash it. Okay, so let's just create our own vendor. So add vendor. Okay, so let me just call this one as Prosper Cars. Okay, so that's all the listings that we are going to be creating will be created under this name. All right, so let me just mark this vendor as verified. Okay, so you can put a little description, it's pretty much optional. Okay, and then just publish. All right, so that is done now. So at least we already have one vendor on our site now. So now let's go ahead and start adding listings. That's the interesting part of this video. All right, so now to add listings, so just come over here to listings. So by default, also from the demo content we imported earlier, so these are some listings there. So what I'll just do is go ahead and move them to trash, apply. So the one in trash, let me delete them permanently. So I come over here, delete permanently. I click on, okay, so delete permanently, I click on apply. All right, so that has been deleted. So now go ahead and click on add listings. All right, so this is where we are going to be adding our own listing now. So now before we start adding anything, so if you should scroll down now, you see that attributes, where we have attributes, you can see that the category, the brand, the price, and all the information that we added while creating attributes, you can see that they are appearing here. Okay. So you can see for this body now, it is optional because I didn't mark it as required. All right. Also that of year. So it is now, so all of these options is actually self-customizable. All right. So now let's go ahead and add our own listing. So what I'll do for this listing now is I'm going to pick one from our reference website, which is this. Let's start with this particular 2019 Toyota Camry SE. So I'll just copy the title. So this is just how you're going to be adding your listing. So let me come over here, I paste it. Okay. So the next thing is for us to add a description here. So I come over here, I'll just copy this. Okay, and then I come and paste it here. So that, like that. So scroll to the next thing. So now for the vendor, you can see this is the vendor. Mark this listing as verified. If you want to mark it as verified, and then I think I showed you earlier. Now you can see if you mark it as verified, that means it's going to show this green tick. Okay, and then if you want to make it as a featured listing, so that's why it's going to have this star. You can see featured, and this green tick means verified. All right, so those are options that you can also work with. Now there's an expiring date, and the meaning is that you can set a date on which the listing will expire. All right, so if you want to put that, all right. So now for the image now, so you come over here to select image. So these are the image here. So let me select them, open. All right, so while that is uploading, all right, so and you also need to take note that the first one here on this side will be the main image. Okay, like you can see here, it will be the main image. All right, so the first one that appears here will be the primary image. Let me use that word. All right, so we've selected our image. So now let's come over to attributes. So for category now, we come over here to select our category. So for this now, it's under sedan. So you can see after selecting category now, we have our brand. So for brand now, it is under Toyota. All right. So for price, so let's see what price do we have. These are random price anyway. So 22,500. So let me copy that. 22,500. So you don't need to add comma year as a 22,000, 500. So for the year, so the year is 2019. So I can put it here. That's 2019. The drive type. So for the drive type, this is it. Front wheel drive. So let me just copy it. Okay, for the body, sedan. So that's the meaning of the body. Then the transmission. I hope I'm not mixing it up. For the drive type. Okay. So the transmission is 8-speed automatic. All right. Then the mileage. So this is just 48,000. So these are just rough information. So just take notes. Okay. And then for the fuel type, so we have gasoline. Okay. So with this information provided, and that's it. We've been able to create our listing now. So we go ahead and click on publish. And that has already been published. So you can go ahead and view it. Let's see what it currently looks like. All right, so you can see it here. So this is what it's looking like on our own website. Remember, this is our own website. If you want, like I said again, just pay attention to the domain here and this white site icon. So these two tabs that I have here is on our own website. These 3 tabs is from the reference website. So don't mix them up. So this is what it's currently looking like. So you are gradually making progress. All right, so there's another thing I didn't do when creating a vendor. I didn't add an image or a logo. Okay, so let's see this particular image. I want this one to be the main image. So let's rearrange that. Okay, so you can see, let's drag this so you can see it here. So the first image that is here will be the primary image. So let me update that. So now that has been updated. So let me come over here and also refresh. All right, so you can see that has been updated. Now you can see all this information here. So you can see it here. Then we have our description here. Okay. And then we have our price here. All right. So if you also check the listing page, so if I come over here and click on listings, I believe it should show up here. All right. It's not yet showing up. We are still going to fix that. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and add another listing. So let's do one more before I go ahead to add as many as possible. So let me look for another. So let's use this 2018. So let me copy this 2018 or the A4. So I add it as a title. Then I can go ahead and copy the description here. So guys, if you are finding value in this video, please give the video a thumbs up. Okay, so I think this is looking better. And then what other information do we need to provide? Okay, this is the vendor, mark as it. Okay, let's just make this as a featured listing. So also, if you mark it as a featured listing, you can also select the dates when set a date on which the listing will lost featured status. Okay, so you can also do that. So let's say on a particular day, anyway, these are optional features that you can just go ahead and add. They are pretty much straightforward. So for the image now, let's see. So this is the car here. All right, so let me just, I think that's the only one I can find. Okay. So for category now, I think this should also be under sedan. And then for the brand, let me look for it. Audi, this is it here. So for price, let's see, $26,000. Like I said, these are estimates. These are just rough value. Okay, then the year 2018. The drive type. Okay, all-wheel drive, AWD. So I can copy this and come and paste it here. Then for the body, sedan. And then the transmission, we have 7-speed automatic. Okay, I didn't copy that. Then the mileage, 47,000. And then for the fuel type, we have it to be gasoline. So it's pretty much simple once you have set up your category, your attributes. So creating the listing itself is nothing much of a work to do. So you go ahead and publish. So now we've been able to add 2 listings. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and add. So if I come over here to listings, so you can see it here, we have to, and what we marked as featured, this is it here, the category. So what I want to do now is to go ahead and add as many listings as possible. Okay, so guys, I've gone ahead to add more listings. So you can see here we currently have about 13 already published listings. Okay, so if you should go to, if you come over here, click on visit site, and then you go to the home, what we currently have as our home. So you can see that the categories has popped up. Although this group has 0 listing, the pickup truck has 3 listings, you see it here. Then the sedan, it has 2 listings. Okay, so if you scroll down, you see recent listings. So some of the cars that I've just added are already showing up. Okay, so you can see this is just showing up based on the demo that we imported. Okay, but we are still going to make it look much more better. Now, if I should click on listings, you see that nothing is showing up on listings. Okay, so that's because if you should come back to Hivepress under settings, okay, so you see that under listings, it's asking that listing page. You can see that we didn't select any page here. So if I should come here now and select listings, that all our listings should show up on this particular page. Like that means we are dedicating a particular page to show all the listings that we have. Okay, so once I save that, now I can come back to the listing page and just refresh. You can see it now. We already have our listing page. Okay, that's for the website that we are currently working on, not the reference website. All right, so you need to take note. So just in case you are creating yours and you see that your listing page is not showing anything. Okay, so now the next thing that we are going to do now that we already have some cars already listed, like you can see, so we already have something that we can use, we can work with and make reference to in our design. So the next thing to do now is to create our own page. Remember, this is our let me open our reference website again. Remember, this is our reference website, and this is the home page. Okay, so we want to make our own page to see how we can achieve something that looks like this. Remember, we've added everything, we've added our cars, and then we've done everything. So now let's go ahead to create an home page that looks like this. So let me close this tab. So we are going to be looking at this one intermediately. Now, for us to create that page, before we go ahead and create this page, there's a plugin we need to add. So let me come over to plugin and click on add plugin. So there are basically 2 major plugins that we need to add that will help us to achieve that kind of design. Number one, the name of that plugin is it's called Elementor. It's actually, they call it Elementor Page Builder. So I intentionally didn't add it at the beginning of the video. I just want to make sure that every plugin that I'm adding it at the point where we are going to be making use of them. So you can see it here, over 10 million active installation as at now. This is a page builder. Then the other one that we are going to need is also a page builder, which is the essential add-ons. So this is it here, essential add-ons for Elementor. So basically what this does is that now this Elementor has the pro version. Okay, so for it to have the pro version, that means there are some elements, we call them elements. I'm still going to talk about it briefly. There are some elements that is available on the pro version, but we can't get it on the regular version here. But with these essential add-ons, we can also get some pro elements, for free. All right, so that's why we are adding this. So another one we are going to add, which is the third one, is this ultimate add-on for Elementor. Okay, so formerly called Elementor header and footer. What this will make us to achieve is for us to create our own kind of header. Okay, instead of having you can see this header that they have right here where it says find everything you need and everything. So we don't want this kind of header, and not this kind of menu. So with that plugin now, we can create our own header. So that's what this will do. So go ahead and click on install. So we've added like 3 plugins now. We've installed. Now for us to activate it, so just come to install plugins. You can see it here. So let's do it together. 1, 2, and the third one, this is it. So just go ahead and click on bulk action, activate, and then apply. So personally, I just usually skip all of this information here. So you can just skip, or you can just close it here. Okay. All right. So that brings us back to our dashboard. So now we can go ahead and create page. So go to pages. Although we already have one home page here, but we are not going to be making use of this. Okay, this is the one that was created from the demo content. We want to create our own home page. So we click on add page. So you can go ahead and call it, you can also call it home. So once that is done, there's nothing much to do here. Come over to template, select Elementor full width. Okay, so just leave it as full width. So once that is done, click on publish. Publish. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the page. So let's open it in a new tab. So here's our current home page now. So you can see it here. This is our home page now. So what we want to do now is, I just want to show you a preview. This is the home page. So we are going to be changing it into this. Let me click on this now. So don't forget, this is our reference website, okay? And this is our new website. All right, so let me just close it back. So now that we've published it, so you come over here and click on edit with Elementor. So I can also close this. We won't be needing this anymore. All right, so just here is another notification, so you can just keep it. All right, so now this is what we have. This is what we have. So if you are familiar with Elementor or page builder before now, you won't have problem with understanding some of the things that is going on here. But if you are busy, if you are very new to Elementor page builder or WordPress generally, let me just give you a walkthrough of what you are seeing on the screen. So this is where we are going to be creating the design of these entire sections, all these sections here. Okay, we're going to be creating everything here in a matter of minutes. Okay, now what we have here is elements. You can see elements. You can also, these are widgets or elements, whichever way they prefer to call them. So basically these are all the things that we are going to be dragging into our workspace here. So if you need heading, you drag it here. If you need image, so we are going to be making use, not everything, but a number of them for us to achieve what we want to achieve. Okay, so if you scroll down, you are going to be seeing, so like I said there are some pro elements on Elementor. So if you look at it, you can see that there's a pro here and there's padlock, something like a lock on it. So that means we can't have access because this is not a pro account. All right, but notwithstanding, even with the regular account, you can also get something. So you can see there are some other general elements. So you can see the tabs, the image box. You are still going to make use of video image box. You are still going to make use of accordion. So there are a lot of them here. Now you can see there is also these are not available. These are locked. Now if you also look at Hivepress, they also have their own list of elements. Okay, so you can see them here. If you also scroll down, the other plugin that we added, the essential add-on, these are the elements that they also provide. Okay, these are their own elements. You see it here, EA at the top. Okay, now there are some that are similar to, you can see advanced accordion. So they also have their own text that is similar to that of Elementor. However, there is always a little difference or a little kind of effect, between both of them. So you can see there are a lot of them that is available. Then this is another one that is locked. Okay, so even the EA itself, the essential add-on, they also have their pro version of some elements. You can see that is locked. Then the third one that we added, the ultimate add-on, they also have list of other elements. So you can see that there's a lot of things here that we can work with. Okay, all right, so then that is it on that. So if you look at what we are having here, this is to preview. If you do any design here, you want to take a preview, this is it here. This is for help. If you want to find this what's new, and then checklist. Now what you are seeing here is a desktop view. So if you are making a design, it will show you what it will look like on desktop. That's on your computer or your laptop. Then why this is for you to switch and look at what the design actually looks like on tablet, and then we also have on mobile. Now the essence of this is that sometimes when you are doing a design on desktop, it always looks very good. You design the layout, the size, the font, everything is okay. But once you switch to mobile, you see that it won't be very okay. It won't look nice at all. Maybe the text might be too big, you understand, or the alignment might be out of shape and the likes. So what you need to take note of that once you are working on Elementor, you need to make sure you switch between some of this display size type, and then make sure that everything is good. So this is just some page settings. If you want to do some page settings, you can see it right here. So that's what this here is for. All right, so if you look at this is structure. So if you click on it, it brings this. You are still going to make structure or navigator. So there are different, once we start creating some designs and sections here, you see that there are some things that will pop up here that makes it easy for you to navigate between different sections. Don't worry, you're still going to understand that. Then we have this plus. If you want to add elements, maybe you're working on something and you want to bring back this, so you just click on this plus icon. So if you click on this Elementor logo, this is where you can come back to your history. Okay, so there's still some shortcuts, some user preference and theme builder. And if you want to exit away from this Elementor from this page, just come over here and click on exit to WordPress. All right, so that's just a short overview of everything that you can see on your screen. All right, so without wasting time, let's go ahead and get started with this. You can see, so this is it here. I'll be switching between this tab and this tab, but don't make the mistake. This here is the one we are working on, and this right here is our reference website. Okay, so don't mix them up. You can use the domain name here to know the difference. You can see it here. All right, so don't mix that up. So to start with, now we are going to start with this section that you are seeing here. So here we have a reliable Kansas City car dealer. So for us to achieve that, you click on this plus icon, you bring in a flex box, and then you're going to use a 2 column. All right, so I did that with a 2 column. You can see it here. So what we want to bring in now is this text. All right, so for us to bring out that text, I'll come over here, click on this plus for the elements. So I'll just search for text. All right, so the text that I use there is called the fancy text. So what I'll do is I'll click on it and I'll drag it in. Okay, all right, so you can see it here. So now the prefix text is this your. So I'll come over here and type it. So I had an underscore to it. So the first string there is tested. Okay, then the second string is trusted. And then the third one is reliable. Okay, so your tested, trusted, and reliable. Why the suffix, if you look at it here, is where we have Kansas City car dealer. So I'm going to put it under the suffix. That's the text that has okay. So you can see it here. So the next thing for us now is to modify it to make it look like this. So for us to do it now, let me explain some of the things here. So whenever you pick an element here, okay, or a widget, whichever name that fits it, you are going to be seeing another screen that looks something like this, depending on what you pick. Like for text now, you're going to see content, you're going to see style. So this style is where you're going to pick the color, the typography, and other effects. And this advanced also where you can add the margin, the padding, and some other, you can see there are a lot of other features there. Now you might not need to use everything, okay? So you don't need to freak out or get overwhelmed. All right, so what we want to do now is to come over to style, okay, because we are done with the contents. Okay, all right, so for this fancy also, we can also do something here. We don't want it to be at the middle, we want to put it at the left alignment. Okay, so the animation we want to be typed. You can see there are different effects, typing, or you want it to fade. So you can see it to just be to fade in and fade out. All right, we want it to be typing. So animation start on page. The typing speed is where you can adjust how fast the text is typing. And then delay on change, how long do you want it to stay before the text change? So let me say I want to put it at 2000. So loop the animation, that means after the thing showed all the three texts, it should start again. So that's the display cursor, type cursor, that's this blinking cursor. If you don't want it, you can turn it off. So all these options are self-customizable. Is you can decide whatever you want. It's a matter of preference. So, but let's come over to style. So prefix color. So let's look at the prefix color here is red, which is this here. So I'm also going to come over here. Then I'll select red. So since I'm going to be making use of this red more often, what I'll just do is I'll click on this plus so that I can save it. So I'll just click save it as red. So what it makes it easier for me when next I need a red color, and to make sure that the red that I'll be picking will be consistent all through. Okay. So let me make it a little darker. All right. All right, let me just stick with that red. Okay. Cancel. Let me just stick with this red. All right. So then for the typography now, this is talking about, so once you click here, so you can see it here. This is where you select your font type, which is the family. You can select your size, your weight. If you want to transform your text either from uppercase to lowercase or to capitalize. Okay, so these are the options that is there. You can also change the style to normal, italics, oblique. And then if you want to decorate it, that's underline, overline, line through. So all these effects, if you want to add line height, line spacing, and word spacing, okay? So these things are three different: line spacing, letter spacing, and then word spacing. All right. So now what we want to do under typography is we want to change the fonts. So the fonts we are going to be using is Montserrat. Okay. And then for the size I use in the other one is 75, if I can remember right. All right. So let me keep it at 75. And then for the weight, okay, so let me increase the weight to 800, right? So you can see it here. All right, so I haven't done that. I think we are done with the prefix. So now let's go to the fancy text. So for the fancy text also, so this is the black text is the fancy text. So for this now, the okay, the typography too. So for the typography, although there's an option, there's a place I'm still going to show you where you can just select the font family, so you don't need to do that multiple times. Okay, and then the weight, I put it to 800. Okay, so let me increase this to 800. Okay, then the color, I want it to be black. Okay, so then let me save this black. Okay. So I click on create. So that's still saving. Then the cursor color, so I also want it to be same black. All right, so welcome back. It was taking time to actually save, so I just had to refresh and then it was back to normal. So another thing you need to take note of is while you are working on Elementor, always make sure that you publish. You want to make some changes, always make sure you publish so that all the changes that you are doing is going to be saved, okay? All right, so we have been able to do this for that of the fancy text. So I can go to the next one, which is for the suffix. So for the suffix also, we are going to do the same thing. Suffix text color, we also want it to be red. So I select red. And then we come over to typography. We'll increase the size to also to be 75. Okay. And then the family, the font family, so that will be Montserrat. Montserrat. And then the weight also to be 800. All right. So you can see it's a little big clustered there. So for you to do that, now we come to line heights. Okay, so increase the line heights. So let's look at it together. I think 80 should be fine. Okay, so let me publish that. All right, so this panel that you are seeing here, if you want to hide this back, if you want to take it back, you just press here. So you can see it here. So to take it back in and then show you what you have here. All right. Okay. And then you can bring it back. So if you want to do a preview, so once you type on, you can see preview changes. So to show you what it looks like on the live website, so you open it in a new tab and show you what it looks like. So you can see it here. This is that particular section. So let me just close it and come back in. Now remember this structure I talked about. So you can see we are currently on this container. Every element that we are bringing in is creating it in form of a layer. All right. So because sometimes you might want to go to some certain section on your design and then you might not be able to go there. Your cursor might not be able to click on it, but with the navigator, you can easily go there. Okay. All right. So now let's go back to our reference. Now we've added this. Now let's add this text. Okay. Shop new and use cars and get financing and drive happy. So let me come and copy it. So let me just copy this text to make it easier. Let's go back to our own website. So now for us to bring in that, so you come again and click on the plus icon. You are going to be using a text editor. So I'm going to drag the text editor just below the here. Okay. All right, so you can see it here. So this is where I'm going to enter that text. So I can just paste it here. Okay. So then I come to style. So under this now, under contents, so there's okay. So then I come to style. So this is where I can set the style. Okay, so now let me change the text color. So I want to let me therefore increase the size. So maybe I want it to be, let me keep it at 18. Okay. Then for the font, I just want everything to be on Montserrat. Then the weights, let's see, 600. Or let me just make it 500. Okay. So what is just a matter of preference. So that is it for this. Don't forget to always publish. Then for the color, so okay, you can see, look at it here. Text color. So let me just put it on black. Okay. So but okay, let me just leave it on this black, although even it is looking to, so let make sure you save. All right, so now there's other options here. As me, this is a link, so you can see it here. So as me, there's a link there. We can set a link color, okay, but there's no link. So we've added this. So let's look at the next thing to add is this button. So for us to add this button, you see there is two buttons sitting side by side. So for us to be able to do that, click on this plus button. What you're going to bring in is you're going to bring in a container. So you're going to drag this container below it. Okay. And then you're going to come back to this plus and search for button. So the button that I use, you can see there are different types of buttons. We have the regular button, the creative button, and other buttons. So I'm using the creative button, so you come over here and drag it in. Okay, so you can see now. Now, since there are two buttons, what you do is you come over here, you click on this, and then you click on duplicate. All right, so you can see now there are two. Then you click on this container that is holding the two buttons. So you see the direction here, you click this right row. Okay, so that they can sit side by side. Now you can, if you not put in this container, it's very difficult for you to put the button side by side because you're having two buttons. As long as it's just a single button, you might not need to introduce a new container. Okay. All right. So with this now, so you can see we've been able to achieve what we need here. And then you can see the other options here is currently justified to this position. If you want to put it at the middle, if you want to put it at the end, if you want to space it in between, if you want to space it around, if you want to put it at space evenly, okay? So there are different options that you can actually work with here. But let's go ahead and modify one of the buttons. So I've clicked on this button now, you can see here. So what we have here is saying browse inventory. So I'll come here and change the button text. So browse inventory. Okay. So I'm going to leave the secondary text. Now there's a link. So I want to link it to the listing page. So I'll just listing, so you can see it will just show up here. Okay, then there's an icon. So if you look here, there's an icon of a car. So I want to bring in the icon, I'll come over here, click on the icon, and I can search. Okay, I'm actually searching for car. Okay, so you can see it is a car here. So insert. All right, so the other options, if you need to rotate it, you can see for any reason you want to do that if you need to. Okay, then icon spacing. So you can also select the position. Do you want it to be before or after the text? Okay, so the options is there. All right, but I'm okay with it before. Then the icon spacing, I want to add some space to it. Maybe 15 is okay. Okay, all right. So if you also come to style, so you can see this button has different style. We have the default, we have the Winora. So you can see the effect is that it will bring in, once you override it will show this secondary text. Okay, then we also have these other styles. This Ujarak. Okay, let's see. I can't really see the effect of this. Then this wire. Okay, I can't really see much. All right, so you can see this is the effect for this. And then let's see the last one. I think maybe that was one I used there. All right, so let me confirm what you can see this effect here. Once you override it, you can see it here. So let me confirm the style that was used here. So if I should come over here to style, okay, Wara or Wira, I can't. Okay, so now let's put in some of those over effects, then it will probably show up. All right, so this is where we are going to select the icon color. You can see the icon color, the text color, and the background color. So the icon color is set to white, which is okay. Text color is white. Then the background color is red, but not this shade of red. So let's click here, and then we can just select our own red. Okay. So border type. So if you want to add a border, let's add a solid border. Okay, and then we want the border to be like 2 pixels round, and then the border color. So border color should also be white. All right, so let's just leave it to white. So let me also save that color. So guys, if you are finding value in this, please give the video a thumbs up. Okay. All right, so I'm just trying to make sure the video is as extensive as possible. If you want to add border radius, so you can also do that. So to just create a curve around like this, so you can see it. So this is the effect of border radius. So let's just put it. So let's just add 10 as the border radius to create some kind of curve around it. Okay, so button alignment, if you want it, you can also do that. Then for the typography, if you want to change the typography. Okay, so I'm just trying to be as fast as possible because I don't want the video to be too long. So the icon size, if you want to change the icon size, you can adjust it here. Then the box shadow, you turn this on if you want to add a shadow, so you can see there's a shadow. If you need to change the color, you can do that. These are the other options that is available here. Okay, so now what we want to do is now, what if we over it? You understand? I want to create some effects. So I select over here because we are normal. So if I select over, so what I want is if I should over this image, I want the background to change to white, and then so I want the background to change to white, then the text to change to red, the text and the icon. So you can see it. So once I over it, so this is where you can do that. Okay, then once I over it too, I want the border. Okay, so you can see I want the border to change to red. So border color, select red. So you can see it here. Okay, so don't forget to publish. So that means we are done with this button. So what I will just do is I just go ahead and duplicate this button and delete this. Okay, so that makes our work much more easier. So what I just need to do here is to change it. This is get pre-approved. Get pre-approved. So I'll just change the text here to get pre-approved. Okay, get pre-approved, and then I'm going to send it to a particular page, maybe probably the contact us page, but I've not created it, so let me just put this there. Then for the icon, I'm just going to use I think it's called signature. All right, this is the file signature. Okay, so the reason why I can just go ahead and pick, because I'm kind of like familiar with some of the names of these icons. All right, so this now, the icon by default is white, and then when you over it is black. All right, so for you to do that, so you should be able to get the concept by now. So you come over to style. So the background color is white, the text color is red, the icon color is also red. Okay, so then when I over it, the background color is black, then the text color is white, the icon color is white. So you can see it here. So then on normal, I want the border color to be red. Okay, so you can see it's red. Then once I over it, I want the border color, so I click on over, and I want the border color to be white. All right, perfect. All right, so don't forget to publish. All right, so with this now, we've been able to do the so to do this part, okay, to do this part. So what is another thing we need to do is to add, okay, so no, this is the our reference website. So another thing is to add that background, so that card on the background. So for us to do that, so I'm going to click on this 6 icon here. You can see, so this is the entire container. Okay, so you can see this particular one I've just clicked on is controlling the entire container. Okay, you can see where we have this pink rectangular box. So I'll come over to style. Then you can see background here. So I'll just click on classic. Then it's asking me to add image. So I'm going to look for that Lamborghini. I hope I have it uploaded here already. Okay, this is it here. So I've selected it. So I click on select. All right, so you can see I already have it selected here. Well, so now let's make it appear proper. Now, before we do that, now this entire container that I've selected, so let's come over to layouts. So you can see I want to increase the height. Go to something maybe around 650. Let's see. Let's say like 600 pixels. Okay, so I think that's fine. So you can see I've increased the height. Now you notice that this particular text is more to the top and we're having more space. So I want to place it at the middle. What I'll do is I'll click on this 6 icon here. I'll click on this here and I can come over here, the alignment. So I want it to be center, so you can see it's space now at the center. Okay. All right, now this car, I want to bring it, I can walk around with this car. So I come over here, I come to style. Okay, so if you come down, if you scroll down to this now, so for position, if I select center, you can see what happens. So if I also select center left, so you can see it moves the car to the right. Okay, and then the other options there, depending on the kind of design that or the layout you have, if you want top center, you can see it here. So there are different things that, so there's no one way to, if it's custom that is applicable, you can also do custom. So for but this center left, I think is ideal. Okay, so we also have attachments. If you want it to, you can see scrolling with the image, you click on fixed now. So what happens is you can see the image will just be fixed. So these are some of the effects that you can actually add. So but let me just leave it on default, then repeat, no repeat. Then display, if you click on auto, you might not see any change. If you click on cover, so you can see it, this is cover. Click on contain, you can see it is giving more space here. And if it is custom, so depending on what you are working on, okay, but let me just leave it on default. So don't forget to always publish. All right, so there's not something that you notice that now that we have this background, this text is not showing properly. So one thing that you can do here is click on this this element, come to advanced, then you scroll down to background. Okay, for the background now, I want to add the background color. So let's say I want to add, click on color, I want to add white. Okay, so you can see it here. All right, so it makes it more visible. So I can go to style and I can just put it to the alignment to center. So then publish. All right. So with this now, we've been able to achieve this first. You can see this. These are reference websites again. You can see. Then there are other effects that you can decide to want to add. So I've come back to click on this. Away from background, you can also add a background overlay. So that means maybe you want to add a color. You click here, select whatever color you want to add. So let's say I want to add this blue color, so you can see it here. Then I can then adjust the opacity. Okay, so you can see it here, right? So I actually don't want it. Let me just take that out. So I just decided to show you because if you look at here, there's a kind of white color overlay. Okay, so now the aim, like I said, the aim of this video is not to just create exactly like this, but to walk you through the process of achieving something like this. Okay, so you can be creative with yours and then you can decide to do something different. All right, so now that let me remember to publish. So now that we've done this, before we start creating the mini sections, okay, before we start creating the mini sections, now let me show you this. Now remember I said earlier we are working with the mobile view and it is looking good like this on mobile, right? It's looking good, everything is okay. Now if you should switch to tablets, we are having something like this, which to me is not looking too good, right? So what we can just do here is let's just adjust this so that we can have more space. Okay, remember it's 2 column, so we can adjust it. So I think it's better like this. Okay, now we've already done the correction to the, and then you publish to the tablet view. Now let's look at the mobile view. Now you can see what I was saying here. Now when we switch to mobile view, the text are too big. All right, so what we just need to do is to click on it and then you come back to all of these and then we reduce the size. Okay, so let's reduce the size to Let's see. I think around 30 was what was okay. Then we come over to fancy text also. We go to typography. And then let me reduce this also to 30. And then suffix, typography. Let me also make this 30. All right, I think this is better now. So what we also need to just adjust now is the line height. Okay. So maybe 1.5 would be fine. And then I think it's better off like this. Okay, I think it's still looking better like this. Okay, so then you go ahead and then you publish it. All right. So there's another thing I just need to also show you, just in case. Now, if there's anything that is not looking good on the mobile view, you can decide to take it off. Exactly. For example, if you want to take out this text now, maybe for any reason it's not looking responsive on mobile view, you can just hide it. So once you click on it, you come to advanced, and then you come over to responsive. Where are you? Okay, this is it, responsive. So you can see if you want to hide this, maybe you want to hide this on mobile, so you just toggle this so you can see. That means it will not appear on mobile view, but only on desktop view. So you might have come across some websites where you see some features that is available on the desktop, but it's not available on the mobile view. So these are some of the things that is responsible for it. So it was disabled on mobile view. All right. So now we are back to it, and then now we can go ahead and do the next section real quick. So for the next section, which is this search here. So for us to do that, you come back here. And then you click on this plus, and then you scroll to where we have the Hivepress. Right, so this is this Hivepress. So you can see listing search form. Okay, so this is what we're going to drag. Let's just drag it in here. Right. So this is it here. This is the search form. So we've not customized this search form to show what exactly to be there. That's why it's still showing those keywords. But this is it already. So what we just do is I click here. Now you see that it's more at the top. It's more in between. I mean, up towards below this particular section. It's overlapping it. So for us to do that, so once I've clicked here, I come to advanced. I'll unlink the margin. Then at the top, I'll give it a negative value so you can see it here. So let's say -40. Okay, so you can see it here. So don't forget to publish. So basically the difference between margin and padding, I'm still going to talk about it as we progress. So that sorts out this. I'm trying to be a little fast. I don't want the video to be too longer than necessary. All right, so now let's add this section now where we have this trending search and then we have this category. Okay. All right, for us to do that, we bring in a new section. And then we had just a single a direction column facing down. So this is it here. All right, so what we have here now is this. We're going to start with this particular heading here. So we're going to click on the plus, click on heading, you drag it in. So what we have here is trending search. So I'm going to type in trending search. So now let's go ahead and design this for typography. There's also Montserrat. And then the weight is 800. Then for the size, let's leave it as 25. Okay, and I think that's fine. So then for the color, is red. So let's see. Okay, this is the text color. I can click here, red. All right. So the next thing now is these 4 columns that we are having. So for those 4 columns, you click on this plus icon, and then you bring in a grid. So that's what I use here. Then you drag it just below it. All right, so this grid, I want to be 4 columns. So I come over to columns, I increase the column to 4, and then I reduce the row to 1, right? All right, so to bring in the elements, so I'll come over here to the plus. So the element that I'm going to be using to achieve this You can see I come over here and search for image. So it's actually an image box. So this is it here. So I'll just drag it in and drop it here. Okay. All right, so now let's start with this. So let me put in an image. So let's say, let me use this. And then for the description, we don't need any description, so I can take that out. And then for the text here, cars for sale under $5,000. So where we have this heading, so I'm going to put it here that cars for sale under $5,000. Okay. So we put in the text. So let's come to style so that we can adjust it properly. So image space, let's start with the image. So for the image width, I want to spread it across, so I want it to show all through. Okay. And then that's for the image. For the contents, for the title now, so let's come ahead here and edit the title. So let me change the size. So I think 18 should be fine. And then for the typography, let me just leave it as Roboto. Okay. So for the color, I want it to be black. So cast for sale under. So once they over it, I want it to show red. So I click on over, I change it to red. Okay. I come back to normal. So then this image, so I come back to image. If they over the image, you can see this effect here. Once you over it, it's kind of like, create some kind of animation. So I click on over, and you can see over animation. There are different options to choose from. If you want it to shrink, so you can see. If you want it to push, you can see just once. Then like the one I used here, I think it's pulse grow. So you can see it here. Okay. So those are the effects that we created right here. Okay, so there are other things that you might want to do. It's a matter of preference. So now let's come back to content. Now this button is supposed to take us to a page where you see cars that is actually under $5,000. So this is where you're going to add that link. So let me just put this here since I've not created the link. But once you get the link, so for you to get the link, what you just do is once you are done with your website and then you get the link, you're going to search it like this based on the filter, cars under $5,000. So the links that the page will result in, you come and paste it here. Okay, so that's how to do that. Okay, so now we've been able to do this. Like I said, the other effects that you might want to do, but definitely might not need everything. If you come to advanced, so you might want to curve the border, you might want to add some background shadow, you might want to create a border color and all those kind of effects. You can also want to create some animations like the likes. Okay, so it's a matter of preference, but I'll just say that you don't just try to overdo it so that your website will not just look very, very confusing. All right, so now that I've done this, to make it much more easier, instead of repeating the process for the for the 3 other, so you can see there are 4. Instead of repeating the process over and over again, so this now, I think I've placed it I hope it at the center. Alignment center. Okay. So instead of repeating it over and over again, so what I'll just do is I'll just click here and I'll duplicate it, and then I duplicate. All right. So what I'll just do is I'll now go here and start changing the images to, so what's the next one? SUV starting at $10,000. So let me select this image. Okay, so now there's one thing that you also need to be careful of when you are doing this. You can see that this image is smaller to this. Okay, so you need to make sure that whatever image you are using here, so you can see here, I had to make sure that the image are of the same size. Okay, that's why you are having them to align properly like this. So let me try and see if I can just change it to something else. All right, so I've gone ahead to select images that are approximately equal size so that it can look better. So like this is looking more better. Okay. All right, so now let's look at the next thing here. You can see we have this section that says browse by type, and then over here we have see all types. Okay, so we have to type this as a link. You can, if you look here, you see this is linking to a listing page, and this is just a normal heading. And then we have our category. So now let's do that. So for us to bring that in, now because we are having two two heading here. This is one here, and this is another one here. We will need to introduce a container. Okay, so so you can see now I've been able to place it. So you need to be sure where you are placing it. The container sits properly. So now I can come. Now this is the text I want. This text I want to use is similar. So I'll just come here and copy it. I'll place it inside this container now. Then I'll go ahead and duplicate it. So I right click and I click on duplicate. Okay. So what I'll do now is I'll click on this container that I've just added. Okay. Remember, just like the way we did this button. Okay. And then I'm going to switch the arrow to this. Then for the spacing now, I'm going to click on space between. All right. So that's what I'm going to do. So now this is going to be browse by types and then see all types. I'll change this to browse by types, and then I'll change this to see all types. So however, for this see all types, you see that the text was smaller and it is black. So I'll come to typography. I'll reduce the size to, let's say 6. Okay, so I think 15 is okay. And then I'll change the color to black. Okay, and for this one now, it's going to the listing page. So I'll come here to add the link. So since there's a listing page already, so I can go ahead and add it. Okay, so you can see. So this button will take us to the listing page. So I can go ahead and publish that. All right. Now there's something that you'll notice. Let me give it some necessary gaps and margin. You'll notice that looking here, you see that there's a space from here and there's a background. You can see that the background here is a little gray or maybe like a gray or ash color background. And there's a space here from this to this. So let's quickly add those effects. All right, so I'll click on these 3 dots here. I mean, these 6 dots here. I'll come over to style. Then I'll select this. It's on background already. I'll select this classic. So this is where I select the color. So you can see it here. But I want it to be a very light. So just to create that, you can see it. So just to create that effect that, oh, this is a new section. All right, so I think I'm okay with that. So I'll just save this. All right, so another thing I want to do is, you notice that there's a space here and there's a space here. Okay, so that is called, it's called padding. So I'll come to click on this 6 dot. I click on advanced. All right, so I'll first of all unlink it. So at the top now, I want to add the padding of, let's say 60, or I think let's say 80. Okay, so the meaning of padding is to create a space within this particular container from the edge to the next closest element. To create a space. Now, why that of margin is to create a space outside this particular one. Okay, to be a space between this particular container and the next container. All right, so that's the meaning. All right, so now what I'll do is I'll come over to this other container. I'll also give it some padding, but I'll add it below. So I'll unlink this, then at the bottom I'll also give it 80. So just make sure that whatever padding you are giving it is the same thing to create the level of consistency. You can see it here. So for this now, I'll also add the padding below. For top and bottom, I'll give it the same value. So you can see it here. Okay, so let's see what else. So I also want to make sure that this new section, there's a gap between it and this. So I can just click on this entire container, come to advanced, and then this time around I can add margin. Okay, so I will link it at the top. Let's say I want it to be 30, or let's say 40. All right, so then I publish. All right, so you can see it here. Then another thing, you can see that there's some space here at the left and at the right. Don't worry, we are still going to take that out. There's a code we are going to put in somewhere in the website to make sure that the website is full width. So guys, if you are finding value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. So now let's come down to this now. So the next thing is to add this particular one. Now, just the same way I said it here, that you need to take note of your image. So the same thing applies here. When you are creating your category, the image you added, okay? So just make sure that the size are of the same size, okay, in terms of the pixels or the size, so that you won't be having something. Like I said, for this hatchback now, it's a little odd, and this coupe is odd compared to pickup and sedan, okay? All right, so but that's another thing you need to take note of. So what we want to bring in now, so click on plus, we want to bring in the category element. So it's under Hivepress, it's part of Hivepress, okay? So this is it here. So for Hivepress, you see category, listing category. So I'll drag this and drop it here. Good. You can see it now. So there you can select how many columns. So let's say I want to use 4. Close. Okay. Okay, I think it's only looking at seeing. Okay. Then the number must also align. 4. All right, so you can see it now. I actually don't like how this thing is appearing, but just like I said, you need to make sure that the whatever image you are using to represent the category, they must be of the same size so that you won't have this issue of alignment of images. Okay, so let me just keep it at 3. All right, so then let's see. And that's it for this particular section. Before we move to this section is pretty much easy. All right, so now let's come here. You can see now we are done with this section here. Okay, so we already have, so you can see it looking at it from the top. Okay, let's confirm what it's looking like on mobile view. So on mobile, so okay, so this trending search, so it's looking good on mobile. This is looking good. So you can see not in all cases that the mobile will look disfigured, okay, but you also need to look at it, pay attention to it. All right, so now let's bring out our side panel so that we can add the next. So this is the next one here, the next container that we're going to be, which is the listing container. All right, so for you to achieve that also is pretty much simple, just the same way we've done it. So just bring in another container. This is it. So what we'll just do is just to copy this. Okay, no, this one. So let me copy this. And I can just paste it inside this container. And then the name is what? Cars. I'll change it to. So the reason why I'm copying it, it saves me the time that I'll need to start adding the color, the font, and everything. So then now I want to add listing. So I'll come here and look for listing under the Hivepress. So this is it, listings. So I'll drag it and just drop it here. Okay, so you can see. So now this is where you're going to select how many columns. So if you look at our reference website, we have 3 columns. So 3 columns, how many cars do you want it to show, or how many listings? So let's say I want it to show 9. Okay, so you can see to show 9 random listings. And then if you want it to show from a particular category or for a particular brand or from price or mileage, so you can see. So the choice is yours. If you want to display only featured listing, you can turn this on. Display only verified listing, you can turn this on. So it is self-customizable. So you can see we already have this populated already. So you click on publish. So again, let me add some padding. So at the top and bottom, okay. So publish. All right. So you can see we have, it remains okay. So remain this button now, where we have sell all cars, and this will take us to the main listing page itself. Okay. Remember that this is just showing only 9 out of all the possible listings that we have. All right. So for us to bring that button now, so what we'll do is I'll come over here too and copy this button instead of starting over again, and I can just come here, right click and click on paste. You can see this is the button here. So I'll come to style. So the button alignment, I want it to be at the center, so you can see it here. So if I want it to you can see it's longer. So I'll just increase the width. You can see I can change this from pixel to percent. So at 40%. So here is see all cars. So I'll just change the content to see all cars. Okay, so that will be see all cars. Okay, then I click on publish. All right, so you can see this sort out this particular section. So we are left with this these other ones now, which is the testimonial section and this carousel and then this one. So let's quickly do that too. So now it's more as if we are dealing with WordPress now, like how to create a WordPress website, because we have done the major part of the website that has to do with car dealership. Okay, although there are still one or two things I still need to show you. All right. So for us to bring in this now, we also introduce a new container. Okay. So now if you look at our structure, you can put this in around. So you can see this is a so you can see now all this, if I want to go to this, if I click here now, it takes me, you can see. So this makes it easier, the navigator here or the structure. Okay. So there are some areas that you might not be able to go to or to touch, depending on how complex your design is. But with this, you'll be able to go there easily. All right. All right, so I'll copy this, come over here and paste it in this new container. So I click on paste. So I'll change it to this text. It says the trust from our clients. I don't know if that term is correct anyway, but that's what it is. Trusts from our clients. So the trust from our clients, and then we had all right, so you can see now for this testimonial there are 2 columns. So come over here and click on the plus. So you bring in a container. So just put it underneath it. And then we'll click on the plus again, and then we'll look for the testimonial widgets. All right, so let's use this. So then what I want to do now is to duplicate it. So this is what I'm supposed to duplicate. All right, good. So I'll click here, which is a container. Click on this. Okay, so you can see. So I want it to be side by side. So for the gap now, using this gap, let me say 60. Okay. All right. I think that's fine. So now you can go ahead and put in your content. So you can see it here. So this is where you put in your testimonial content. You put in the image. So the image you put here will appear here. Then you can put in your name, your title. You can see just like you are having here. So you can play around with this picture to put in your testimonial content. Okay. So then when you are done, you come over to style. You can also style it based on the color. If you want to put in a particular, you want it to be black, so you can see it here. You want to change the typography, just the same way we did others, you can do it here. For the image also, if you want to, do the image size, you can play around with the size, the name. If you want to make changes to the name, maybe the color, the typography, the shadow, the same thing with the title. The title is that this where we have the designer, so you can actually do that from here. All right, so with what I've shown you so far, I want to believe doing this won't be a problem. So let's go to the next section. Okay, now this particular section now, there's a divider. This is the reference website, and we have this carousel. So let me show you how to do that. So now what we are going to bring in now is a divider. So I'll click on this plus here, and then I'll search for it. Okay, this is it here, divider. So I'll just place it here. All right, so this is the divider. So I want to cover, let's say 75% or 70% of the page. Then I'll place it at the middle, okay, which is a solid color. So underneath it, now before I do that, you will notice that this particular section also has a different color background compared to the one before it and the padding. So let me click here. Don't forget, just the same way we did this particular side here. So the same thing, once I click here, I'll come to style. So background, I'll click on classic, I'll click here, and then the gray background, that's the essence of saving it. So you can see it here. Then I'll click on advanced again, then I'll add the padding. So for the top arm, I think we are using 60 top and bottom padding. Okay. All right, so now let's bring in image carousel. So let's see, COU. All right, so this is it, image carousel. I'll drag it underneath the divider. Okay. Also, you'll notice that this divider, there's a lot of space above and below it. So let me say this divider now. Let me add some padding at the top and bottom. So let's say 30, 30 at the top, 30 at the bottom. Okay, I think that should be fine. So now I click back on the image carousel. So this is where I'm going to add the image of those car brands, the logos. All right, so what I'll just do is click on this plus icon. So we have this. So since it's an image carousel, we can be clicking it just like that. You can see it here with this check icon. So this selected it and then click on create gallery. So if there's any reason if you need to rearrange them, you can always rearrange them. You can reverse the order, so you can see it here. Right, then you click on insert gallery. All right, so this also comes with its own formatting. So slides to show, so you can say, okay, for this now, so it's showing 6. So that's just the meaning. Slide to show where you, this is it, 6. So you can see this is 6. Default to scroll. So that means how many should you scroll at once? So I'm selecting 2. So that means once it scroll, 2 will go, another 2 will come. Image stretch, no. Arrow and dots. So these dots, if you don't want it to appear, you can just say none. If you want only dots, if you want only arrow, but I don't want any of them. Okay. So these are just, if you want it to link to anything, so that once you click on them, it links to a particular page or website, you can do that. All right. So there's still some advanced option here. Autoplay, that means it should just be playing by itself. If you want it to pause on over, that means once there's a mouse over it, the image will just remain like that. Right. So you can see it here. It's turned on. Pause on interaction. If you interact with it, it will pause. So autoplay speed, animation speed, then the direction. Okay. So autoplay speed, animation speed. So let me increase this to, let's say, 1500, and then the autoplay speed, let me just say 2. That's 2 seconds. So you can see it here. Animation speed talks about how fast it will move, and then autoplay speed talks how many seconds after, how many seconds should the image change. So 2000 means 2 seconds. Okay. So these are options that you can actually play with. So you want to align them, center, give them spacing, and like, I think it's okay like this. So you can go ahead and publish. So all these changes, again, you will also need to confirm what it looks like on mobile view. Okay. So for this testimonial side, I can decide for the mobile view, I can just say I want to make this to be center. Okay. Right. So for the mobile view, this is what it's looking like. It's showing just only one. So same thing again, you come over to mobile. For the mobile view, we can see once you are working with mobile, you see something like this. So slides to show for mobile. Let's say, can we have 3? All right, so you can see it here. Image to scroll 1. Okay. Okay, the size. You can adjust the size. Okay, let me just make it 2. So you can play around with some of these settings and then see what is right. All right. So we are back to desktop version, which is showing 6. Okay. All right, so that is already published. So now let's see what's the next. Now, what is left now in this particular section. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do this. For this now, we are going to be introducing a 2-column. So guys, please give this video a thumbs up. If you know you're really finding value in it, just go ahead, give the video a thumbs up. If you're yet to subscribe, please click on that subscribe button right now. All right, thank you. So that this 2-column, I bring in a 2-column. All right. So now we have this Kansas City car dealer and then excellent car dealership. So what we are going to be doing here is a more of copy and paste. So that means I can copy this and paste it here in this first column. So I'll just change the text to Kansas City car dealer. Okay. Then this is the excellent car dealership. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate this and then I'll change it to. So now I can just increase the font size and then change the color. So the color is black, and then the typography. Okay, so just look for the size that works best. Excellent car dealership. Okay. All right, so now if you notice something that I want the car should come down, but it's not coming down. So what you can do is this short code. You put less than, then BR greater than, right? So that will send it to the next line. Okay, so that's just the short HTML code there. All right, so then next to it is we have this text here. So for you to bring in that text, you just look for, come to the plus, and then you bring in a text editor. So you drag it below it. So this is it, text editor. All right. Okay, so now for this text, I won't be changing this text. So I think by now you should be able to change the color. So you put in your text, come to style, typography, you can change the size and the fonts, and then in this way you change the color. Okay, so that should sort that out with that. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. Now before we go to the next one, I want to quickly work on the background. So you can see there's a background here, and then we have some padding. So let me do that. So I'll click on these 6 dots, come to advanced. For padding at the top, again, let's use the same padding you are using. Let's be consistent, top and bottom 60. And then there's a background image. So I'll come over to style. Then I'll come to classic, click on the plus here. So let me look for that particular Rolls Royce. I think we have it somewhere. Okay, this is it. Select. All right. So we already have the Rolls Royce, but it's not showing up the way we actually want it. So you can see it here. So what we'll do is, still on it, we're going to select the position. Should it be center, center? Okay, I think that's just it, center, center. Okay. Then for us to be able to see it like this, that means we added background overlay. So you can see it here. You come back to background overlay. So you add the color. So I think that should be white. Okay, you can see it, yes. So that should be white. And then the opacity, that white, you can increase it. All right, so once we increase it, I think we've been able to achieve that here. Okay. All right. So don't forget to publish. So let me send this back and see what it looks like. All right. So this is what it looks like. Let's see. So background, let's see, center right. All right. Okay. I think center right is better because there should be space here. Okay. So then publish. All right. Let me change this to black so that it will make a little sense here. Okay. So that was how we're able to create. Now, remain this particular section. Okay. So this, you need to. So before watching it, I want you to attempt this particular section, and see how you can achieve it. Okay. All right. So now for us to achieve this, it takes some. So what we are going to do is, don't get confused now. So I want your attention here. So what we are going to do here is we are going to bring in containers. Okay. So I'm going to bring in this one container here, because what we are having here is actually 4. So you can see 4. So inside this container that I've just added now, I'm going to bring in yet another container. Okay, so we are having a container inside another container, and then what I want to bring in now is a counter. So I'll bring in a counter. Well, it's another this counter I'll put in. Okay, so here we just need the number. So the ending number is 900, and then the pool number we don't need the text, so I take that out. And then the style, so the number should be red. Then the typography, I think it's still not correct. Okay, and then 800 as the size. Okay, then let me put this to 75. Okay, this is 75. Whatever, so that is it for that. And then another thing I want to bring in is for this now. So what I'll just do is I can just copy this and just paste it. Now change it to this text where we are having our vehicles available right now. Vehicles available right now, style, then I change the color to black, then I reduce the typography, so let's say 15. Okay, then I center it. All right, so what I've just have here, I can go ahead and just duplicate it. Then I click on the initials container, or should I call it second level container, and then I set the direction to row. Okay, we can see it here. So for that counter, there should be a plus. Okay, so number prefix is where you're going to put the plus. Oh, sorry, number suffix plus, and then here to plus. No, that should be number suffix, then plus. All right, so you see what we've just done here. So I'll click on this second level container now, and then I'll duplicate. Good. All right, so the next thing you're just going to do now is to change it to all this value, this 12 plus, and then year 7, Kansas City, then financial partner. Okay, so that's the next thing to do. Okay, but one thing you notice that this for this alignment is aligned to the left, while this I aligned it to center alignment. So if that is a problem, you can just put it here at the start. Then for this at the start, okay. So just in case you notice that, so it's not compulsory. You just do it the way it is. You can decide to put yours, to align yours the way you just put. Let me just do it the way it is in the reference website. Okay, so just to show you the possibility of what you can do with all of this. Okay, so what next is just for you to go ahead and change the text. But the important thing there is to show you how to achieve that. All right, so let me just publish this again. So that's it on how to do this. Now the next thing is, you can see that this is more at the top. So let me just do it so that, let me click here, and then so that it can be at the center. The center aligned, so click on publish. All right, so you can see now we already have the entire section of the home page. All the sections now is complete, and that marks the end of the home page. Okay, so now we can go ahead and work on other pages. All right, For us to exit out of this, even though we are still going to need it, so let me just click here. Let me put it in a new tab. Now to create a contact page, so it starts by creating the page itself. So I'm back on the page, then click on add page. We'll just come over here and have the contacts. So don't forget to select the template as Elementor Pro width and then publish. So it has already been published. So now we'll come over to edit with Elementor. So while that is opening up, so let's look at so this is the page we want to create now. So this is the contacts us page that we have. So we have this section here, and then we have this 4 columns which shows phone number, address, email, and then as more like the working hours. And then we have this map and then this carousel. So these two now, we don't need to create it again. You can just copy it and paste. Okay. So now let's go to our new contact us page. So this is it here. So we are starting with this section now. So this will be much more easier. So I click here and then I add a new container. So don't forget, these are reference websites. So you use this domain name to know the difference. And this is one that we are creating now. All right. So we add this title here with this text here. So for contact us, so just to make it much more easier, I can just, instead of bringing in this heading and starting all over again, I can just go to the home page that we just finished creating, and I can look for one of these. Okay, so let me bring back this side panel so that I can just copy. I can just copy one of these, copy, and then go to this part here and just paste it. Okay, so you can see, so that will just save us the time in creating it again. So then I just align it to the left. Then I think this is more bigger. So let me change the contact to contacts. So that's contact us. Okay, so contact us, and this text is a little bigger, so I increase the size. So let's say 35. Let's see what we are going to have. Okay. So underneath it, we also have this. We are here to help. So let me see if I can get. Okay. So for that, we are here to help. All right. So I can just bring in this. We are here to help. So then you go ahead and also format this appropriately. Let's say I want to keep this at 600. Color to be black. Typography 40, let's say 40. And then, so I think there's a shadow. There's a white shadow around it, but let's first add the background image. So from here now, I want to increase, so you click on the 6 dots, I want to increase the height. So let's say 350. Let's say 350, let's give it at 350 pixels. Then the content, let's put it, okay, so that's good, okay, at the center. So let me look for an image to put in the background. So I click on this, still here, come to style. Under background, I click on classic, I select image, and then let's see if we can, the image we can use for that section. Right, so I've settled with this image. So now for the text to appear, I'm going to add a background overlay. So I'm going to select white, so background overlay, and then I'm going to select white. Okay, so then I'll increase the opacity. Or I'm going to use gradient instead. Okay, so something like this. So one side will be white, the other side can be probably red. So for the location, then the angle, right? So the side that is having the text should be white. So I can, so you can just be creative with this, okay? So let me just leave it like this. Then click on publish. So this should sort out this particular section here. So now the next section is here. We have we are available 247 to attend to your inquiry. Okay, so for that now we are going to create. So let me confirm if it is looking good on mobile. Okay, so for mobile, I want this text to be at the center, and this should also be at the center. Okay, that's for mobile view. But for desktop view, it's okay like this. I think that sorts that out. So let's bring in another container. So for that now we are having this. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this and come and paste it here. So now I can just copy this text and come and replace it here. All right. Okay, so the next thing is this 4 columns we are having here. So for this now, I can achieve this using the grid. So I'll drag in the grid here. Select 4 columns, 1 row. Okay, and let's see the elements we use here is info box. Or is it info box or icon box? So let's search. All right, so icon box. So you also have info, but you can also use icon box. Okay. All right, so let's format the first one is call. So we'll change this to phone. So the icon will be phone. Then the text will be phone. So here where we have type, so we are going to change it to phone. And then under the description is where you're going to add the phone number. Right. So now that that is done, so the next is to just format it appropriately. So we come to style. So icon at the center. So for the icon, let's resize. Okay. Then the color red. Content title color is also red. Okay, black. Okay, so the text color is just light blue. All right, so we don't. This doesn't have any over effect, so we are going to take out the over effect. Just cancel it. Okay. All right, so next now I'm just going to give this, I'm going to give it enough padding. So I've selected this icon box itself. So I want to give it some padding at the top and at the bottom. So let's say 40 at the top, 40 at the bottom. Okay, so let's see what other thing. So there's a shadow. So I'll click here, then come to border under advanced, then just you can see the shadow. So that's it. We've been able to add shadow to that. So now with this that we've done now, I can just go ahead and duplicate it. Okay, you can see now. Okay, then there's not something. Then the edges is kind of like curve. So that means there's a border radius. So let me add that. So I'll just click here again. Still come back to where under advanced, under border. So border radius. So let's see. All right, so let me just keep it as 10. So for me to add it to these other ones, I'll just copy here, copy this entire, and then I'll come here and click on paste style, and then paste style. So all the formatting I've done to show you. So the next thing is just to come here and start to adjust it to change the icon and the text. So where we have address, put icon, email, you put this, and then the text. So I want to believe that won't be a problem for you to do that. Okay, so now let's look at it. So next thing now, let's add some padding. So let's say at the top and bottom, padding, let's give it 60 at the top, 60 at the bottom. And then if you look here, we have the background color, okay, our regular gray. So I'll click here on this icon, come to style, click on background, click here, then gray background. So I think that's fine. So publish. Let's confirm what's looking like on mobile. So on mobile, it's still looking good. All right, let me convert it back. Now, there's another thing there is white. The boxes are white. Okay, so let me click here again. Come over to advanced. Come to background. Background type, so color. So this is where we select our whites. Okay, so you can see it here. So we put in our whites here. The same thing we did when we want to report that. So I'll copy it and then I'll come and paste. Paste style, and then paste style. So don't forget to publish. All right, so this sort out this. So the next thing now is for us to add our, what we have here. This is a map, and then we have this divider and this thing. Now you'd notice that this is the same thing with what we have on the home page. So to make it easier, so we'll come over to the home page. There are two ways to go about it. You can decide to copy this entire container and come over here and paste it here, or you just right click and then you see an option to, you can see save as a template. Okay, so once you save it as a template, let me call that testimonial slider. Okay, so I've saved it as a template, and this other part too, I can also save it as a template. So I can just call it there's a Rolls Royce there, right? Rolls Royce footer. Let me just give it a name I can relate to it. So I can just save it. So what this does is, when next I need it on other pages, I can just insert it. Okay. So the second way is that I can just copy this, come to the new page, and then I'll just come here and then paste. All right, so you can see it here. All right, so what I'll just do now is to delete this container and then come over here and search for map. So Google Map, I'll just drag it here. So we come back here, so you can see that now I can just go ahead and delete this also. You can see that this is here now. But that means there's no much editing to do here. So for this map now, so the only thing I just need to do is to edit this map. Now for this background, the background is white. So I'm going to just change this background, click here, over to style, the background, and then select white. So you can see it here. Then for the top, you can see that there's no space here, no margin or no padding, rather. So I'll just take out the padding at the top. So now I can now go ahead and edit the map. So this way I can adjust the heights of the map. Okay, then if you want to zoom, that's how you want to zoom in. And then you can go here and enter your address. So okay. So if you put in a more detailed address, it will show this those pin, all right? So you go ahead and publish. So that's how you can get this part done. You can just copy it from, make sure you are still within the same. For example, I can't copy an Elementor from another website since it's within the same website, okay? So that is why it is possible to achieve this like that. Now, then the other option is, you can see this here, add templates. So I click on templates. So you can see the template I've saved. So that this RR footer, I'll just click on insert. Apply the settings of this container to yes. So I want to apply. So this is the second way to get it done. You can see now. So let it load. All right, so you can see it now. So I can just also just select the template and upload it, or maybe I just come here again and then I just copy this entire container and come here to paste it. So these are the two ways that you can go about it. So I've saved now. And then with this now, we already have our contact page. Our contact page is ready. So this is our contact page. So the last page we want to create now is our FAQ. I'll also walk you through how to create the FAQ page. I've also walked you. So this now, there's no need. You can just do that yourself with everything I've put you through here. All right. So we don't have any business here. I can just go ahead and close this contact us page. Now start with creating the next, which is the FAQ. Now we are back to our pages. Okay. So you can just, we are still on our on our main website. Now you'll notice that our page, our contact us page is similar to the frequent FAQ page, especially this section. And you can see there's this slider here, and we also have this section here. So another way to just make it easier is go to the contact page and you see this EA duplicator. So just duplicate it. Once you duplicate the contact us page, so the ones that is duplicated, which is the one we are going to edit. So let me just edit it. I don't want too many tabs. So you click on edit. So then you can just change this to FAQ. So you publish. Remember, since we duplicated it, we don't need to start selecting. Okay, so we need to update. Let's go with Elementor full width. Save. I hope our contact us page is also on Elementor full width. All right, since that is already saved, now we can edit with Elementor. Okay, so now we are back to our contact. So now just go ahead, change this contact to FAQ. Then let's see. Frequently asked question. So here we are yet to help. I'll just change it to frequently asked questions. Okay, so we don't need this. So I can just delete this part that forms. So what we need here is, all right, so it says explore most frequently asked questions. So I can copy this and come and replace it with this text. Okay, so even though it's looking bold, so you can just work on the, okay. And then, so now for us to achieve this, this is achieved with the accordion. So now we don't need this map. We don't need this map. So what you are just going to do is to delete this map. Okay. So now we bring in our accordion. So for us to achieve that, we come over here and search for accordion. So this is it. But before we bring in the accordion, let's put in, because if you look at the accordion, there are two. It's showing in two columns. Okay. So for us to do that, let me first of all bring in a container here. So once the container is there, I can now go in and bring in the accordion. So for this accordion, I'm going to duplicate it. So now that I've duplicated it, I'll select the entire container, and I'll select the row horizontal so that you can see, so that they can be side by side. All right. So now this is how this accordion works. So you can see, just like we have it here, you're going to have a title. Once you click on it, the answer is going to show. You over it. Now you see this overall effect and how it is changing color. It's based on style. Okay, you can see based on the styling. So if you look at the accordion style, when it is normal, when you over it, when it is active. Okay, because I need to explain it. I don't want to go through it too much because of time. I don't want the video to be longer than expected. But let me use this one to explain it to you. That's the reference website. But you've seen the back end right here. in terms of styling, the normal, over, and active. So what it means is that when it is normal, this is how it look like this particular section when it is normal. This is the active one. That means this is one that you are currently opened, that is currently opened, right? Okay. Then if I over it, this is the effect I'm getting. So you can also set it to the option that, okay, this is, I've select this. Once I open this, if I should open the next one, the other one to close. So it's just settings that you can play around with here. You can see under header, you can also play with the header and then the contents. Okay. All right, so that's it. Now, if you come to this content, you can see this is the first one. This is where you are going to enter the title or the question. Let me say this is where you're going to enter the title or probably the question. You can see it here. And then for this answer, so you can drag in, you can see drag the widgets here. So we are going to drag in a text editor. Okay. So this is where you're going to put in the answer. All right. Now, this part that hosts the answer, you're also going to do what? You're also going to give it some style, the text, you know, the alignment, the typography, and everything. Okay. So what you are now going to do is, you see this, come back here, click here. So what you are going to do is, once you are done with this item, the item 1, let me delete 2 and 3. Once, first of all, work with item 1. You style it, you give it the color and all the effects. Once you are done with it, then you can now duplicate it. So because by duplicating it, that means you are duplicating it with all the designs and all the formatting, so that you don't need to go through it all over again. Now, if you have been following this video, I want to believe you understand what I'm saying. Okay. Now, once you are done with this, you can go ahead and duplicate it again. Okay. Then you can delete this. I hope that makes sense. All right. I hope so. But if at all it doesn't, just let me know in the comment section. Maybe I'll do a separate video for accordion on how to use it. So once you do that, you'll be able to achieve the effect that you are seeing here. Okay. All right. So let me come back to the frequently asked question. Okay. So let me change the background. I think this is showing. Anyway, I believe by now you should know how to walk around. You can just customize it the way you deem fit. It's not compulsory. You should just do exactly what I have here. The important thing is for you to understand the step, and which is one thing I believe I've taken time to explain. All right. So that will round it up with the frequently asked question. So there are 2 other pages, but I won't be creating it. But I believe with the contact us page and the FAQ page I've explained, you should be able to do that. And those pages are, now this is the reference website, is the privacy policy page and the terms and condition page. Okay, so you can just go ahead and also create it the same style, the same template. Let me just show you what it looks like here. So this is the reference website. Now I want to show you what the privacy policy page looks like. So you can see it's almost the same thing. Privacy policy, the background header is the same thing, just that this one is more of text. There's no, then we have this footer here. If you look at the terms and condition page too, the same format, and then just a list of other text, and then we have this footer here. Okay, so there's no need to go through that with you again. So I want to believe you can do that. So now that we've achieved all the pages, so the next thing is for us to make sure that our website, you can see that we are not having this space. And for us to achieve that, there's a code that we are going to be using. I'm going to leave that code in the description of this video. So for us to paste that code, let's go back to our dashboard. So I'm back on the dashboard. All right, so if you notice that, you see that the dashboard is looking clean. There's nothing in here. So if you want to clean up your dashboard, you see this screen option. So if you can just decide to enable whichever information you want to be seeing on your dashboard. Okay, so that's what will determine what will populate here. All right, so that's just by the way. All right, so now let me come over to appearance. So this appearance here, you click on customize. So where we have additional CSS, so you click on it, then you come over here and paste this code. So I'll leave a link to it in the description. So you paste this code and you just click on publish. So what the code will do is to make sure that you have a full width site. So let's go back. All right, so while that is done, we're still going to check it out. Let's just, so under site identity, so this is where you can put your site identity and then your tagline. So we have copyright notice here. If I should scroll down, we are going to, this is where you add your copyright notice. Now your copyright notice is this text you are seeing here. Okay, so this is where you are going to put it. So let me just, we can just have something like this. All rights reserved, designed with loved by. So let me just paste it here. So all rights reserved, the name of the website, then design with love by, so you can see it here is appearing here briefly. Design with love by, so let me just say design with love by Prosper. All right, so if you want this to show like a link, like we are having this reference website whereby there's a link here, so you can just use the code for it. Now if you don't know the code offhand, you can just search for, just open a new browser and just look for hyperlink generator. You find a different website that can make it easy for you. Okay, so this is it. You can just use web code tools, there's codify and the likes. All right, so where do you want it, what do you want it to show? So this is the text that you want it to show. Let's say I want it to show my name, and then I want it, when they click on it, where do you want it to go? Maybe you should go to my website. Yeah, pdigitech.com. Okay, so you can see it here. All right, so this is the code. If you can, if you know it offhand, fine. If you don't know it offhand, this is just the way to do it. So you just copy it, and then you come back to your website, and then you paste it. Okay, so you can see it here. All right, so the other effect, if you want it to open in a new tab, that's it. Okay, self. Okay, so that's how to just do that. Okay, so and then you can save that. So display site tagline and title. If you want to display that, this is the site icon. These are another place you can set up your site icon. Then your site logo. Okay, so if you want to put in your logo, this is where you're going to put in your logo. So you select, and then let's put in our logo real quick. Do I have a logo here? Okay, is it? All right, so just not to confuse you with our reference website and this website, let's just assume this to be our logo. Okay, for the purpose of this tutorial, I don't want to use the same logo with our reference website so that we don't get confused when I'm switching between the sites. So let me just use this Volkswagen as our logo. So you can see it's here. You crop your logo. So just make sure that the logo that you're using is of 150 by 150. Okay, so you can see it here. Once you put in your logo, it will appear here. All right, so once you do that, click on publish. So let's go back. So we also have colors. So you see that some of the colors, especially on the listing page, if I click on listing, you can see that it's more yellow and then green. Okay, and our reference website, we are using red. So that's where you can change. Let me close this. This is where you can change your color. So you can select your color, then your primary and secondary color. Okay, right. So this is where you can do that. So publish. So that's for color. Then header image. So enable. I didn't use any header image, so I can just close this. Then for menu, you are still going to do the menu separately. Then home page settings. So where do you want to use as your home page? You select a static page, and then this is where you are going to select your home. So this is it as our home page. So for post page is blog. That means if you have a blog section, all your blog posts will appear there. Okay. So publish. We can come back now for fonts. Now remember, while I was creating the website, I said there's an option where we can choose a font, so we don't need to be typing the name of the font over and over again. So this is where you can just put it. Let me say Montserrat. So this is it. And then for the body, also I said I would just want to use one font all through. Let me look for Montserrat again. So this is it. All right, so this is where you can just set your font, and then you don't need to start putting it manually over and over again. All right, so we've put in all of those are the options that is available here. So now let's go back and go and set up our menu. So before we set up our menu, now that we've put in, we've gone through everything under customize section, and we've put in our code that will make our website to appear in full width. So let's take a look. So if I come here, so once I over here, you see to show view sites, I can open it in a new tab. So you can see now we are having our website is spreading across. We are having a full width. Okay, you can see it now. It's spreading across in full width mode. Right, so now let's go ahead and create our menu. So if you look at our reference website, we have the home, the listing, the FAQ, and the contacts. Right, so let's go ahead and create that menu in that arrangement. So we'll come back to the back end of our website, and then we'll go over to appearance. We'll come over to menu. So let me just open that menu tab. All right, so now that is opened. So what I'll just do is I'll create a new menu type. I'll click on create a new menu. So I'll just type this as, let me just give it a name. Let me just type it as menu. Let me just give it menu 1. Okay, so then I'll click on create menu. Oh, I'm supposed to click on this option that display location. I want it to be at the header and footer. So since it's just the same thing. All right, save menu. So menu 1, then I'll select. All right, so now I want to add the home page, the contacts, the FAQ, and the listing. So I'll click on add to menu. So now this has already been added to menu. The next thing is for me to just arrange it. So the home, let's see how I arrange this. Home, listing, FAQ, and contacts. Home, then I can just drag this up. Home, listing, FAQ, and contact. All right. So now that that is done, I can go ahead and save. All right. So let's see if it's going to make any change on our website. So let me open this in a new tab. All right, so the menu is not yet going live here because we are still going to create. Now what we want to do is to create, next is to create our own custom header. So this section and our own custom footer section. Okay. So remember one of the plugins that we installed earlier, that's the ultimate add-on for Elementor. You can see this UAE. So let's come over here. We are going to use it to create our header and our footer. So under it, you have header and footer. So you click on it. So what we want to do is you click on add new. So select a template. So what we want to create first is header. Okay. So you scroll down. So you want it to display where? You want to display on the entire website. Okay. Then the user role. So we can just select. I think that's just the only thing we need here. So the user role, what does it mean here? It's not showing. Enable layout for Elementor Canvas tutorial. Okay, so let's just click on publish. All right, so let me call this header. Let me update that. All right, so the next thing is for me to edit it with Elementor now. So in summary, what we want to just do is to create an header that will replace all this that we are having here. Okay, so I don't want all of these, so I just want something different. So I'm going to create, for me to achieve some, let's go back to our reference website. You can see we have a logo and then we have this option here. So for us to do that, we're just going to bring in 2 column. Or let me close this. Let me use the instead. So let me use something like this here. This one will work fine. So what I'm going to bring in here is I'm going to search for logo. So you can see here we have our site's logo. So I'm going to drag it here. So that sorts it out. So the next thing I want to add here is our navigation. All right. There are still some other options here. So the link, I want it to link to here. So the logo is supposed to take us to our home page anyway. So that has been done automatically. So for the style, there's nothing really much to do here. So that is fine. So I want to add another thing here, which is our navigation. So I'll click on this plus icon. I'm going to type in, let's see, menu. All right, so you can see it here. We have navigation menu. All right, so navigation menu is already here. So I'll just drag it here. Okay, so it's asking which of the menu we want to use. So this is menu 1, the one we created earlier. So I select menu 1. So this is it. So let me just see if I can adjust it here. All right. So So it's asking of the layout. How do you want it to appear? Horizontal alignment should be at the center like this. So this is where you can go ahead and style the menu. All right. So you can just style it accordingly. So for the layout is at the center. What if we should go to the right? Okay. Right, and then at the center. So for this now, all right, so you can see I've used this to bring it down a bit to the center to the right. So I come back here. Now I can use the style to, I just walk around with all of this, link over effects. Okay, you want it to underline, so you can see, so if I should over it, you can create your own effect. All right, so for the typography now, so this is where you put it to your typography, the text color. Let's say I want it to be black, or what color do I use? Okay, black. I want it to be black. Then once I over it, I want it to be red, so I can say the text color should be red. Okay, so once I over it, I want it to be red. Then the active, that means the active means that if you're on the particular page, what color should it be? So the text color also, I want it to be red. If I'm on a particular page, it should be red. All right, that is okay. So then publish. So it's as simple as that. With this now, we've been able to create our header. We just want the logo and this. So if there's any other thing you want to add, you can just do that. Okay. So now we can just close this. All right, so that's it for our header. So the next thing I want to do is for the footer. So I come back here, header and footer. So this for the header, I'll need to add new for the footer section. So let me call this footer. So I want this to be at the footer. I want it to display on the entire website. And then I publish. So edit with Elementor. All right, so for this also, I'm going to use 3 columns. So let me just put this at the center. Okay, so if you look at what we have here, the logo with text, and then we have these links and the likes. All right, so let's quickly just do something like that. So I'm going to click here and then click on the logo. So I'll search for logo. That's the logo. Then I'm also going to add a text editor. So this text editor, I can just enter a short description about the company or the service. Okay, so then over here, I'm going to add, an heading. So I can just call this quick link. For the color now, maybe I want to be black. And then the typography, you can play around with the typography to see what works best. And every other effect that you want to give it, okay? So this now, I want it to, everything should be at the top. Okay, so then next, I want to add menu. That will be nav menu. So I want it to be the that menu one. And then I want it to be vertical. All right, so something like this. So now that I've put it like then you can then go ahead and start to style it again, just the same way we style the header. Okay, so I'm not going to go through that again. So for this also, let me duplicate this entire section so I can now delete this. So for this now, I want you to call social. And then for the menu, I think I saw social here. All right, so you can see it here. So this works for the social menu. And then the other effect that you can just create, but with what I've explained so far, I believe, let me just add one effect now. I can just decide to put in a divider underneath it right here, and then I put it as 20 and make it solid. Then I can just style it to. There are a lot of things that you can actually do with pasting. And then the color, maybe I red. Okay. So for this now, the vertical padding, I think space is too much exactly. So you can easily reduce it. Okay. So let me copy, and then let's see if I can paste this style. Okay. So then this, let me copy this and also paste it here. Okay. All right. So publish. So you can also play around with the color to change the color and make it look better, or make it look better rather. Okay. So that's it on the header and then the footer. All right. So let's go ahead and see what our website currently looks like. All right, so now we can just take a look at the home page of the website we've just done. So you can see it and everything. Okay, so you can see that now we're having a full width website across all pages. So the code, I'm going to be putting it in the description of this video. So you can see the FAQ page. Now we have there's something that's spread across everything. So now there's a few things I also want to mention. I think I didn't mention at the beginning. So if you want to log into the back end of your website, all right, so there's a couple of things that I didn't mention earlier that I need to mention again. So if you want to go to the back end of your website, so what you are just going to do is the name of your website, let's say this one that we are having here, /WP admin. So this is the link you're going to use to log into the back end of your website. Okay, it's at any point in time you want to log in. So if you also look at our reference website, we have this feature here, this button here that's showing the email, WhatsApp, and call. So I didn't actually add it to this one we just did, but there's a plugin that does that, which is this floating chat widgets. So the setup process is quite easy. So you can just do that. So there's another plugin that I also advise you set up properly, which is Yoast SEO. So I don't want to go through that. It's again, that's a separate video entirely. Okay, so you just do make sure you also include this for SEO purpose into your website. Okay, and if you look at our contact page, the email, if you want to have a custom email like maybe info@yourwebsitename.com, then a separate video. So I'm going to leave a link to it in the description that talks about how to create a custom email, especially if you are using Hostinger. Okay, so you can also create a custom email with your domain name for free. All right, so with that, guys, I want to round up right here with this video. I hope you really learned a lot. If there's any part you think I need cover, just let me know in the comment section. And if you have any question for me, do let me know in the comment section below. So guys, if you want to get your hosting, kindly use the link that's below this video. It's an affiliate link, and then you won't be charged any additional fee for using the link. Okay, so but we are going to be getting some commission. All right, so that's just a way of saying thank you. All right, so guys, give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I really appreciate your time watching this long. With that, guys, my name is Prosper, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye for now.